not the son I wanted.
I'll prove my worth, even to you!
Even a mother's hatred couldn't break his will.
Hello everyone, welcome to What If Naruto Was Raised by Parents and Hated by Kushina movie. Before we start, please go support Lit on 493 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken characters' gender, but of course Naruto is a male. What would happen if, instead of Naruto's parents dying, they didn't? That she had 3 siblings, Menma, Mito and Naruko, and that her mother hated her? What if a great Kyuubi no Yoko has 2 Jinchuriki from different families? Prologue. Everything begins as in the story up to the sealing of the 9 tails. Minato Namikaze, or the Yellow Flash, 4th Hokage of Konoha, performs the Reaper Death Seal. Shinigami. What do you want, mortal? Minato. Shinigami-sama, I ask you to divide the power of the 9 tails among my children Menma, Naruko, and Mito, and its body and soul into my son Naruto. Shinigami. Do you know the price? Minato. Yes. All of this was witnessed by his wife, Kushina Uzumaki, the red hot-blooded habanero, who was worried, but strangely, not about her husband, but about something else. As the Shinigami was about to perform the time-locking ritual, he carefully observed each of the children. He was surprised that only 2 of the 4 children didn't cry. Naruko and Naruto. He decided to compliment them, but as he did so, he saw a sphere of light shoot out from the main sphere in another direction, causing the Shinigami to be even more astonished. So the human form emerged from the original body. Interesting, he said. After pondering this, the Shinigami proceeded with the sealing, but only sealed 20% of the Kyuubi's power in Menma, 20% in Mito, and divided the remaining 60% between Naruto and Naruko, each receiving 30% of the Kyuubi's power. When the sealing was complete, he restarted time and turned to Minato. Very well, mortal, he said, I'm in a good mood, and that's why I won't take your soul. Upon hearing this, Minato was pleased, and Kushina was relieved. But before she could speak, the Shinigami interrupted. Shinigami. But remember, mortal, that of your children, 2 will stand out from these. With that, the Shinigami departs, leaving Minato happy and Kushina relieved. They both approach the children, but before they can take them, a cloak of chakra envelops Naruto and Naruko, killing Naruto for a few seconds before they hear him crying. When it dissipates, Minato is frightened, but then he remembers something and calms down. Kushina, somewhat disgusted, tries to kill him, but she can't because she wants to maintain appearances. After that, they each take 2 children. Minato takes Naruto and Naruko, and Kushina takes Mito and Menma. Time skip jutsu. We see Minato and Kushina at the hospital awaiting their report when a doctor arrives. Minato. Doctor, how are my children? Doctor. Your children are fine, Hokage-sama. They have large chakra reserves. Minato. That's good. Kushina. Can we see them, doctor? Kushina only wanted to see Mito and Menma since she had overheard what the Shinigami told Minato and then witnessed what happened to Naruto and Naruko. Minato, for his part, was worried about his 4 children, unaware of what his beloved wife was thinking. Doctor? Of course. With that, he led them both to the room where the children were. Upon arriving, they saw a crib and went to it. Minato looked at all 4 children, while Kushina only looked at her 2. Time skip jutsu. Minato and Kushina were at home, Minato in the living room and Kushina in the kitchen, when someone knocked on the door. Minato went to answer it and saw that it was Jiraiya, the Toad Sannin. Minato. Jiraiya-sensei, what brings you here? Jiraiya. Is Kushina here? Kushina, from the kitchen. I'm here. Jiraiya. Good. With that, Jiraiya walked right in. Yo. Pinkai Jiraiya. Once inside, Jiraiya went to the living room, followed by both of them. Once there. Minato said, well, what brings you here, sensei? Jiraiya replied, I came to talk to you about a prophecy. Minato asked, a prophecy? Jiraiya confirmed, yes. Kushina asked, and what does it say? Kushina listened attentively, eager to learn what it was about. Jiraiya explained, the prophecy says, from the yellow lightning and the red habanero will be born 2 children who will possess great power. That's what it says. Kushina exclaimed, they must be Mito and Menma. At this, both men were surprised. Minato asked, but Kushi-chan, what about Naruto and Naruko? Kushina replied, them? I don't think so. You saw what happened to them. I think no, I'm sure that they're not Naruto and Naruko anymore. Minato continued, but. Kushina insisted, but nothing. I already said they are them, and that's that. Upon hearing this, Minato could only think of a few unpleasant things that would happen with his choice. Minato, a little sad. Fine. At that, Kushina showed a smile, but inside, she was smiling again, much more sinister. Jiraiya. Well, with that said, I'm going to do my research. He said that, but the last part was accompanied by a perverted smile. Kushina. Okay, I'll walk you to the exit. Jiraiya. Okay, thank you. Goodbye Minato. Minato. Yes, goodbye. With that, Kushina walked Jiraiya to the door. But they hadn't counted on Minato approaching to see his sensei leave. But what he heard devastated him. Jiraiya. So tell me, Kushi-chan, when are you going to take everything from him? Kushina. When we get back from Mito and Menma's training. Jiraiya. Naruto and Naruko. Kushina. The demon will stay here and my daughter, well, she died when the mantle reached her. Jiraiya. Okay, see you later, Kushi-chan. Kushina. Yes, Jira-kun. After they finished speaking, they kissed on the mouth, further devastating Minato, who witnessed this but decided to remain silent. He already knew how to fix this. The next day. Minato was sitting at his desk in his office. Beside him was Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, also known as the god of shinobi. They were discussing what had happened the day before. Hiruzen, angrily. I can't believe it. Did they really say and do that? Minato, dejectedly. Yes. Hiruzen, angrily. And to think Jiraiya was my student and you were my teacher. When Hiruzen heard the account, he felt disappointment, anger, and sadness. Disappointment for Jiraiya, anger for Kushina and Jiraiya, and sadness for Minato. To him, Minato was a very good and kind person, and for them to do this to him. He couldn't accept it. To their relief, an Anbu wearing a bear mask entered the office. Here, when I talk about an Anbu, I will call them by the animal on their mask. Okage-sama, we found something. Upon hearing this, they both nodded, stood up, and followed the Anbu leading them. Minato wondered what it was. Hiruzen, on the other hand, simply thanked Kami for this, as it would help Minato forget about yesterday. When they arrived, they saw that the Anbu were heading towards a lake. But before they could speak, they heard something. It was crying. Yes, the cries of babies. Looking closer, they saw a basket. They approached and were astonished. Inside the basket were two babies. A small boy with white hair, as white as snow, with gray eyes, and a girl with blonde hair, as yellow as gold, with eyes as purple as amethysts. Are amethysts purple? Because I've seen them that color. Minato took both babies to take them away. But he noticed a few things that intrigued him, but he would leave that for later. The babies came first. Minutes later. Both Hokage were seated with a basket containing the two babies on the desk, finishing reading a letter that was with them. Minato. So this is it, interesting, don't you think, third Hokage? Hiruzen. Yes. What shall we do with them? Minato. I have an idea. Hiruzen, curious. What is it? Minato. I left my children, Naruto and Naruko, at an orphanage along with the little ones, Alejandro and Mayuri, so they can protect each other while I go off to training. This way, they'll use up the Nine Tails chakra and I can return here to be with my children. Hiruzen. That sounds excellent. But what will happen if little Naruko finds out about the Nine Tails chakra and wastes it? Minato. I've got that covered. I'll make the chakra a part of her so she can use it independently. It will also be sealed along with Naruto's chakra, since I'm sure it will return to him because he has the Nine Tails body and soul. Hiruzen. Okay. And the other two? Minato. I'll try to draw some of Naruko's Kyuubi chakra into both of them so it becomes a part of them and at the same time, I'll seal it. Hiruzen. Sounds good to me. With that, Minato stood up to go get his two children using his signature jutsu, the Flying Thunder God technique. 5 minutes later, he returned with his children. He placed them both next to the other children. As he left them, both Hokage were surprised by what had just happened. Little Naruto and Alejandro reacted the same way, a small red glow in their eyes. That's when Minato knew something. Hiruzen, surprised. Minato, what happened? Minato. It seems what my father told me was true. The Kyuubi no Yoko has two parts, the beast part and the human part, and strangely, both of them each have half of the true Kyuubi. Hiruzen. Then what about little Mayuri? Minato. I'll check. Upon examining Mayuri, Minato gets another surprise. Minato, surprised. It seems little Mayuri is just like my daughter. She has the Nine Tails chakra. Hiruzen, incredulous. Impossible. Minato. It isn't, third Hokage-sama. The human and beast parts are two different entities in one body. Hiruzen. I see. With that, Minato does as he said before, making the Nine Tails chakra a part of Naruko and Mayuri and sealing it along with Naruto's and Alejandro's. Minato, happy. Done, I'm finished. Hiruzen. Well, changing the subject, what will you do about Kushina and Jiraiya? Minato. She wants everything I have and I also have a theory that she wants hers too, so we'll do this. With that, he proceeded to tell Hiruzen his plan, who was astonished and delighted with a sinister smile on his face. 1 week later. Minato, along with Kushina, Mito, and Menma, were secretly leaving. Well, not so secretly, since Minato had told Hiruzen everything. Kushina said, well, let's go. Minato replied, yes. Naruto and Naruto took care, and you too, Alejandro and Mayuri. We'll see you later. After thinking that, the four of them left Konoha, never to return, according to Kushina. But for Minato, to return later and be with his two children, and perhaps take care of the other two little ones. Chapter 1. Minato. Yes Naruto, Naruko, take care, you too Alejandro and Mayuri, see you later. 4 years later. A small, blonde-haired boy can be seen running from a mob of villagers. Why? Simple. They were chasing the boy because he was the vessel for the beast half of the Nine Tails. That's right. The boy is none other than Naruto Uzumaki. Or as the villagers call him, the demon child. The reference, sorry if it's made in gacha, I just wanted to give it my own outfits, please ignore the smile and the one in the following images of this type 3. Naruto was running so fast he didn't realize he'd taken a wrong turn and ended up in a dead end. He tried to turn around, but when he looked, he was shocked to find himself cornered by the villagers. Naruto, scared and crying. Sniff please leave me alone. Villager 1, angry. Never. You killed my wife. Villager 2, angry. And you killed my brother. Naruto, scared and crying. I sniff I didn't do anything. Villager 3, angry. Don't lie. Villager 4, angry. Let's finish what the fourth started. Mob, angry. Yes. With that, they all began to torture Naruto. 5 minutes passed when someone interrupted. Stop. When they turned around, they saw a white-haired boy with gray eyes. This was Alejandro Santos, Naruto's friend and adoptive brother. I used the same Naruto face here because I was feeling lazy XD. Naruto, weakly. Alex Nai. After saying that, Alejandro runs away, ending up between the mob and Naruto. Alejandro, angrily. I won't let you hit my little brother. Villager 4, angrily. He's the demon's follower, kill him. With that, all the villagers rush to attack Alejandro, who manages to dodge and land blows with difficulty. But how was Alejandro putting up a fight against the villagers? Simple. For a year, when they were being bullied, he decided to train to fight against the others to protect those he considers his brothers. Back in the present, Alejandro was getting tired when some Jounin and Anbu ninjas arrived, who took advantage of Alejandro's exhaustion to beat him, and while they were at it, continued hitting Naruto with kunai, shuriken, bottles, etc. 5 hours passed before they finished and left both boys in a large pool of blood, where they held hands tightly and then fell unconscious. Upon seeing that, they began to cheer when. What have you just done? Turning around, they all saw Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, or the god of shinobi, with a very unfriendly expression. From here on I will mix normal images with images made in gacha. Villager 3. Don't worry, Hokage-sama, we just killed the demon and his follower. He said this bluntly, thinking Hiruzen would be proud. But what happened left him perplexed, as did everyone else. Hiruzen. Anbu. With that, 5 Anbu emerged from the shadows. Anbu 1. Yes, Hokage-sama. Hiruzen. Kill them all and take the children. With that, only the heart-wrenching screams of the villagers, ninjas and Anbu could be heard. 3 minutes later, everyone was dead and they went after the 2 children. Only to be shocked to find that when they tried to separate them, they couldn't. Hiruzen didn't dwell on this and took the children to the hospital. At the same time, in the shared subconscious of Alejandro and Naruto. They both woke up in what looked like a sewer. Naruto. Looks like we got dumped in a sewer. Alejandro. Yeah, but don't worry, I'm here to protect you. Just then, they heard some sobbing. Curious, they both walked around. After 10 minutes, they spotted some bars. When they reached them, they were surprised to find a large 9-tailed fox inside. Comforting a fox girl. Seeing her cry, Alejandro felt the need to comfort her. As he took a step, it made a noise, which caught the attention of both of them. The fox girl, seeing them, especially Alejandro, rushed to hug him while sobbing even harder. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. She said, crying a little more. Why are you saying that? Alejandro asked, somewhat uneasy. Because you're suffering because of us, she replied. After saying that, the 2 children looked at each other and began to calm the girl, taking her by surprise, but she appreciated the gesture and began to calm down, all of which was noticed by the large fox. Once she was calm. Alejandro asked, well, are you alright now? Yes, thank you, the fox girl replied, now calmer. That's good, Naruto said, but who are you? I'm the human form of the 9 tails, she said. And I'm the animal form of the 9 tails, the fox added. Upon hearing that, they both shuddered slightly but remained composed. Naruto. I don't think Kyuubi is their real name. What is it? At this, the fox girl was astonished, as was the fox. Fox. Aren't you scared? Alejandro. A little, but they haven't attacked us, so we can trust them. The fox just gave a small smile. Fox. My name is Kurama. And the girl is Kurumi. Alejandro and Naruto. Nice to meet you. Naruto, curious. But what are you doing here? Kurama. You're clever, kid. Well, we're here because we're sealed inside you. And what is this place? From what I can see, it's a shared mind space. Alejandro. Wow, you shut me up with that answer. Kurama. They continued talking amongst themselves. During that time, both children asked them why they were sealed inside them. Kurama shuddered at the question, but decided to answer, explaining that when he attacked the village, he was under his control, and Kurumi couldn't do anything. He added that he had banished Kurumi to protect her. After saying this, they both waited for the other's anger, which never came. Instead, they told them they forgave them, as they were powerless and only wanted freedom. They also revealed that Kurumi was sealed within Alejandro and Kurama within Naruto. They continued talking until all four of them began to glow. Naruto, frightened. What's happening? Kurama, calm. They're waking up. Alejandro, more calm and curious. And how do we get back? Kurumi, calm. Assume the lotus position and you can speak with us. You with me and Naruto with my brother. Alejandro. Okay. They began to glow until they disappeared. Outside the subconscious in the hospital. In the room were Alejandro and Naruto, holding hands on two beds. Beside them were Hiruzen and two girls, one with blonde hair and purple eyes, and the other with blue eyes. Blue-eyed girl. When do you think they'll wake up, Hiruzen. I don't know, Naruto. Little Naruto 3. The three of them were waiting for them to wake up when they saw them starting to do so. Naruto. The hospital, again. Naruto said the last part with annoyance. Both. Nai-san. Oni-chan. Upon hearing that, both girls rushed towards the boys who complained a little but returned the hug. Alejandro. There, calm down, Naruto, Mayuri. Belinda Mayuri 3. The girls were still hugging their brothers when a doctor arrived. Doctor? I have the results, Hokage-sama. The doctor said, drawing the attention of the five. Hiruzen. Yes, doctor. What's wrong? How are they? Doctor? They're stable. You can go now. With that, the five left the hospital and headed to the children's ward. Upon arriving, the four went inside, leaving Hiruzen at the door. Hiruzen, smiling. Take good care of yourselves, children, and get some rest. Alejandro. Smiling, yes, thank you grandpa. Good night. Hiruzen, smiling. Yes, good night. With that, Hiruzen left, letting the children rest. Elsewhere. In a remote place, near a lake, an adult can be seen standing, gazing at the stars. Just hold on a little longer, children. I'll be back soon. The figure simply smiles and continues walking away. Chapter 2. In a remote place, near a lake, an adult can be seen standing, gazing at the stars. Just hold on a little longer, children. I'll be back soon. The figure simply smiles and continues walking away. A year and a half later. After what happened that night, the following day Hiruzen decreed that anyone who attempted to assault or kill the four would be arrested and/or executed. Also that same day, he received a letter concerning a matter the third Hokage was secretly investigating. After reading it, he sent another letter to the same person, explaining what had happened. He didn't know how the other would react. Another development was that Naruto, and Mayuri began their physical training with Alejandro. Knowing about their situation specifically, their food Alejandro decided to learn to cook, finding some food magazines in the trash. When Hiruzen, or as they called him, Jiji, in the case of Naruto and Naruko, or Grandpa, in the case of Alejandro and Mayuri, arrived and saw Alejandro cooking, he smiled, knowing that Alejandro was doing this not only for his own sake, but also for the other three. He was also surprised when he tasted the food, as he saw Alejandro had a natural talent for cooking. Upon learning this, he went to buy some flour, yeast, and fruit to try baking a cake with Alejandro, and was surprised to discover that Alejandro also had a natural talent for baking. From that day on, he helped Alejandro by giving them a little extra money so that Alejandro could provide them with food, ensuring they wouldn't go hungry. Unfortunately, Hiruzen once learned that while the children were out training, thieves had broken into the apartment and stolen their money. He sent someone to find the culprits. When they were apprehended, they were imprisoned, and all the money was returned to the children. Upon hearing the news, the children were initially saddened, but then overjoyed to have their money back, and even more. Right now, Hiruzen was in his office battling the enemy of every Hokage, the terrifying, dream-killing, dreaded paperwork. Yes, at this moment, the great third Hokage was fighting against paperwork, which seemed to have no end. He was longing for a short break, and as if Kami had heard him, a bird flew into the room with a letter. The bird vanished as he took it. He opened the letter to find another letter, some photos, and a small piece of paper. He read the letter carefully, which dealt with the matter he knew secretly. After finishing, he took out the photos, showing images that made Hiruzen frown, but then his expression changed to a wicked smile when he saw some specific pictures. He put the letter and photos in his Hokage uniform and took out the paper, which, when opened, revealed itself to be a note. Upon reading it, he was surprised by what it said. Hiruzen. So you want me to teach him the shadow clone jutsu to the little ones, huh, Minato? Fine, I'll do it. Besides, I hope I finish this quickly so I can get rid of the paperwork and leave it to you, But that thought in mind, he wrote a letter to summon a bird to deliver the message to the writer, who was none other than Minato Namikaze himself. Seeing the bird fly away, Hiruzen stood up and went to a specific place to look for something special. A few hours later, the old Hokage was heading to the children's apartment when he found Naruto and Mayuri carrying some bags. Hiruzen. Hello, Naruto, Mayuri. Upon hearing their names, they turned around, smiling. Naruto Mayuri, hello grandpa. Hiruzen. Hello, are you going to the apartment? Mayuri. Yes, Alex Nai-chan asked us to go buy some things. Hiruzen. I see. I was going to visit you to tell you something, but since I see you here, I'd better go with you. Naruto, yes, thank you grandpa. With that, Hiruzen accompanied Naruto and Mayuri to the apartment. Upon arriving, they saw Naruto sweeping and Alejandro preparing lemonade. Naruto, smiling, oh, hi grandpa. Hearing her, Alejandro looked up at his grandfather and smiled. Alejandro. Hello, grandpa, what brings you here? Hiruzen. Nothing, I just wanted to visit and also show you something. Alejandro. Okay, have a seat, I'll prepare the food later. Hiruzen. Or do you want me to prepare it? I don't have the same knack for cooking, but at least I can make something. Alejandro. Okay, thank you. But that said, Hiruzen went to the kitchen to start preparing something. 30 minutes later, everything was ready and they began to eat in a pleasant silence, which was broken, to no one's displeasure, by Mayuri. Mayuri. So tell us, grandpa, what is it you wanted to show us? She said, drawing the attention of the other three children. Hiruzen. Well, I wanted to teach you your first jutsu, Ataju Jutsu, the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Upon hearing this, they were astonished, since their Jiji grandfather would be teaching them a jutsu, and it would be their first jutsu at that. Hiruzen. So, what do you say? Hiruzen awaited the children's response. They looked at each other and nodded, then turned to look at Hiruzen. Naruto Naruko Alejandro Mayuri. We accept. They said with wide smiles, which made Hiruzen smile as well. They continued eating, but then he remembered something. Hiruzen, hey Alex. He spoke, drawing everyone's attention, especially Alex's. Alejandro. Yes. Hiruzen. Didn't you say you wanted a map of the elements and sub-elements? Alejandro. Yes. Hiruzen. Pulling out a scroll here. He handed the scroll to Alejandro, who accepted it. Upon opening it, he was surprised to find a map of elements and sub-elements. On it, he saw the 7 main elements. Yes, I know you'll say there are only 5, but I wanted to add 2 more. I'll also use random letter to distinguish the elements without writing their full name. These were Earth Release Doten D, Wind Release F, Light Release H, Fire Release Katen K, Dark Release Meeten M, Lightning Release Raton R, and Water Release Suten S. And the sub-elements were Mud Release Deten D plus S, Steam Release Phantom S plus K, Ice Release Hyoten S plus F, Dust Release Jinten D plus F, Wood Release Mokuten S plus D, Storm Release R plus S, Burn Release Shakuten K plus F, and Lava Release Yaken K plus D. Now that he had the map in his hands, he could begin a dream he had cherished since learning about jutsu. Regardless of whether they were used on him or his siblings, he could begin creating his own jutsu, thus ensuring their preservation for the future. Alejandro, smiling, thank you grandpa. Hiruzen. Same as Alejandro, you're welcome. They finished eating and Hiruzen returned to the tower to study the shadow clone technique again, so he could teach it to his adopted grandchildren. 7 months later. Alejandro Mayuri Naruto Naruko. Taju. Shadow clone jutsu. The children, who were already 6 years old, shouted, each creating 100 clones. Hiruzen stood before them, watching with pride, as his grandchildren had mastered the shadow clone jutsu, an advanced and difficult technique. Hiruzen. Well done, kids. This concludes your training in this jutsu. I'll leave you now. I have to return to the tower. Naruto. Yes, and thank you for teaching us this jutsu. Naruko. Yes, thank you. Hiruzen. Smiling, no problem. See you. Later the 4. Goodbye. With that, Hiruzen headed to the Hokage Tower, greeted by the villagers. Upon arriving, he began completing paperwork while simultaneously creating clones. Hiruzen. I think Alejandro was clever to tell me I could do the paperwork with the shadow clones, After thinking that, he starts doing the paperwork and then sees an anonymous letter. Hiruzen. What's this? He takes the letter, opens it, and starts reading. After reading, his children gasp in surprise. Hiruzen. It can't be. At that moment, a warm, nostalgic, sad, and happy smile appears on his lips. Chapter 3. Hiruzen. It can't be. At that, a warm, nostalgic, sad and happy smile appears on his lips. Sante's Uzumaki department. Alejandro was in the kitchen with Naruto. They were both cooking, or rather, Alejandro was teaching Naruto how to cook while in the living room. Naruto sat and Mayuri looked at a photo. "Hey, Alex," Mayuri said. "What is it?" Alejandro replied. "Would you ever like to meet our mother?" Mayuri asked. At that, Alejandro abruptly stopped cooking as the Uzumaki siblings listened intently. "I'd love to," Alejandro said, "but did you read the letter Grandpa gave us with me? We might never see her." "I know," Mayuri said, "but I'd love to meet her." "Me too," Alejandro added. As they said this, Naruto and Naruto couldn't help but feel sad for their older siblings. It should be clarified that Alejandro and Mayuri were born in September and Naruto in October. Alejandro and Naruto continued cooking when there was a knock at the door. Naruto answered it. She saw it was Hiruzen. "Oh, hi, Grandpa," she said, stepping aside. "Come in." "Thank you." Hiruzen replied. He entered, noticing Mayuri glancing at him from a photograph of a woman with a little girl with black hair and two boys, one with white hair and the other with blonde hair. These were Alejandro and Mayuri's mother and older sister. Alejandro and Naruto were already in the kitchen. "I have a letter," Alejandro said. "It's news that you two will be happy to hear," Alejandro and Mayuri. Upon hearing this, Alejandro stepped back for a moment while Mayuri looked directly at him. "So, what is it, Grandpa?" Mayuri asked. Hearing this, Hiruzen proceeded to read the letter, which was tucked into his Hokage robes. When he finished, he saw that Alejandro and Mayuri's faces held a mixture of surprise, sadness, and joy. "Mayuri. So, our mother is still alive and she's coming here with our sister?" Hiruzen. "Yes, and I also wanted to tell Naruto and Naruto something." Naruto. Coming out of the kitchen. "And what is it, Gigi?" Hiruzen. "I wanted to tell you who your father and mother are." Upon hearing this, Naruto and Naruto couldn't manage a happy expression, but that faded when they saw Hiruzen's serious face. Hiruzen. "Before I tell you this, I want you to know that when you find this out, you won't feel hatred towards them." Naruto. "Okay, Gigi." Hiruzen. "Well, your father is Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, and your mother is Kushina Uzumaki, the red hot-blooded habanero. And they aren't dead, they're alive, but they went to train your siblings, Menma and Mito." Upon hearing this, their faces already showed expressions of disbelief, anger, and sadness. Hiruzen. "But there's a reason for that." Upon hearing this again, their faces shifted to curiosity and disbelief. Naruto. "And what's the reason for that?" Hiruzen. "Your father had a falling out with your mother and agreed to go with her. He also asked me to leave you at an orphanage with Alejandro and Mayuri because he knew the 4 of you would become strong enough to defend yourselves. He'll train you in a few things while he makes your siblings use up the Kyuubi's chakra so he can return." Mayuri, angrily. "And he knows what we've been through?" Hiruzen. "Yes. And he's determined to do something about those who hurt you. That's why, when I arrested them, I didn't execute them. He'll do it. Besides, he asked me to teach you the Shadow Clone Jutsu, knowing it would help you." Mayuri, more calmly. "I see. But, changing the subject. When are Mom and Anchan arriving?" Hiruzen just smiled. Hiruzen. "Just wait, they'll arrive in 3 months." Mayuri and Alejandro beamed as they were about to see their mother for the first time. Naruto and Naruto were also beaming, but for 2 reasons. First, their father was alive and, though not with them, he was watching over them. And second, their older siblings were finally going to see their mother and sister. But that moment was cut short when the clock chimed, signaling that lunch was ready. Naruto. "Well, lunch is ready. Are you staying, Gigi?" Hiruzen. "Okay." With that, he set the table with the girls. When they finished, the boys brought the food and the 5 of them happily ate together. Elsewhere. The dark-haired woman stood next to a young woman with dark red hair and another young woman with dark brown hair. Red-haired woman. "Hey mom." "Mother, what's up Dennis?" "Dennis. When will we see them?" "Mother. In 3 months. Don't be so impatient." "Dennis. Okay, mom." Brown-haired woman. "Come here, Dennis, look." "Dennis. I'm coming, Chara." The mother and her daughter Dennis went to where the other young woman, Chara, was holding a wooden knife. "Mother. Hang in there for these 3 months, my children, then we'll see you. You too, Toriel. I'll take care of Chara here. I just hope you find someone to look after Frisk while you and Asger take care of Azriel." The older woman with brown hair thought to herself before going to where Chara and Dennis were. Elsewhere X2. Minato could be seen with a little girl with brown hair. Minato. "Don't worry, Frisk, your sister will be alright." Frisk. "I hope so, Mr. Minato. I'm afraid they'll do to her what they did to our clan." With that, they both went to where the others were. But they ran into Jiraiya. Jiraiya, again, I apologize Minato. Minato. Don't worry, she learned the hard way. Will you help me? Jiraiya. Yes, let's finish off that bitch. Minato. Covering Frisk's ears, don't say that, sensei, she's still just a child. Jiraiya. Sorry, come on, Frisk, I'll take care of you. Frisk, yes Mr. Jiraiya. With that, Jiraiya took Frisk away, while Minato returned. Minato. As he walked to where his wife and children, just hold on a little longer, kids, I'll see you later. You too, Toriel, I'll take care of Frisk here. I hope you found someone to take care of Chara while you take care of Azriel with Asger. Showing both. Minato mother. Just wait for me us. Chapter 4. Minato mother. Just wait for me wait for us. 3 months later. During these 3 months, both Alejandro and Mayuri were excited, eager to meet their mother and sister, while Naruto and Naruko tried to calm them down. They, too, were anxious to see their father and find out what was wrong. They also discovered that Naruto possessed a strange Kekkei Genkai, which allowed him to transform into ink and control it. This gave Alejandro a new motivation. It's worth noting that when Hiruzen learned this, he nearly had a heart attack, but he was so excited that he decided to tell Minato, obviously with Naruto's approval. Another thing they discovered was that the Uzumaki clan were experts in seals, and Alejandro had an idea. Although he was excited, Alejandro didn't abandon his dream and began creating a new element. Inkuten, Ink S+M, created from Naruto's Kekkei Genkai. This would allow Naruto to possess jutsus based on his Kekkei Genkai. He also gave Naruto a container with an internal expansion seal he and Naruko had made for ink, and 3 more for himself, Naruko, and Mayuri. They practiced ink control with Naruto's help. At that moment, they were both practicing the first Inkuten jutsu. Alejandro Naruto Naruko Mayuri. Inkuten. Ink clone jutsu. Upon hearing this, a considerable amount of ink was released from each container, taking the form of the person who cast the jutsu. Seeing this, they were so excited they jumped around, which was noticed by the clones. The clones then dissipated, and the ink returned to each container with Naruto's help. Outside the village. 3 hooded figures could be seen, a lady with dark brown hair. A dark red, and a brown-haired girl who only had a few red flashes around her eyes. The 3 female figures were looking at the entrance to the village of Konoha. Dark brown-haired girl. This is it, Konoha. Younger brown-haired girl. Are you sure your children are here, Ms. Yanet? The younger brown-haired girl asked Yanet. Yanet. I'm very sure. Come on, Dennis, Chara. She said to Dennis and Chara. They were about to go through when the guards named Kotetsu and Izumo stopped them. Kotetsu? Izumo? Kotetsu? Who are you? Yanet. We can't tell you, we want to speak with the Hokage. I already sent him a letter. Izumo. Very well, but 2 Anbu will accompany you. Yanet. Okay. After saying that, 2 Anbu with wolf and dog masks appeared. Izumo. Take them to the Hokage. The Anbu simply nodded and left, followed by the hooded women, who received strange looks from the villagers. Hokage's office. Several Hiruzen's could be seen doing paperwork while the real one was reading a book called Ichigo Paradise by Jiraiya. Why was he reading a book by his student who had behaved inappropriately? Simple. He forgave him for his actions, just like Minato, after learning how Kushina treated him, and also because he helped them unmask her. Anyway, he was engrossed in his reading when there was a knock at the door. He dispersed the clones and sat down at his desk. Come in. Hiruzen said, and Wolf entered. Okage-sama, 3 people are looking for you. Let them in, Wolf said. Upon hearing this, Wolf ushered Yanet, Dennis, Chara, and Dog inside. Thank you, you may go, Hiruzen said. With that, the 2 left, leaving the 4 of them alone. Well, what do you need? Hiruzen asked. Yanet. Removing her hood and cloak. Well, I'm Yanet, I already sent you a letter. Upon hearing her name and seeing her, Hiruzen was surprised, but at the same time happy. Hiruzen. It's good to see you, but who are they? Yanet. They're Dennis, my daughter, and Chara, a friend's daughter. But that said, Chara and Dennis do the same as Yanet. Dennis. Chara. Dennis. Nice to meet you. Chara. Likewise. Upon seeing Dennis, Hiruzen thought she was in Uzumaki, but given that she was Alejandro and Mayuri's sister, he dismissed the idea. Yanet. Well, we want to be part of the civilian population of this village. Hiruzen. I understand. Yanet. Yes. Changing the subject, where are my children? Hiruzen. Well, they are. He couldn't finish because the door suddenly opened, revealing Naruto, Naruko, Alejandro, and Mayuri, all very excited. It should be noted that when Chara saw Alejandro, she couldn't help but blush a little. Also, when Yanet and Dennis saw Alejandro and Mayuri, they couldn't help but smile. Naruto. We finished what we told you to do. Alejandro. It was difficult, but we did it. They said excitedly, as did the other two. But then they noticed the presence of the three women. Alejandro. Grandpa, who are you? I didn't finish because something clicked in their heads, just like Mayuri's. Why? Simple. They remembered seeing their faces in the photo. Alejandro Mayuri. Mom. Anchan. Upon hearing them, both couldn't help but shed a few tears. But before they could say anything, Hiruzen spoke. Hiruzen. Yes, children, it's them. Hearing their grandfather, they couldn't contain themselves any longer and rushed to the two of them, who received them with open arms while crying, a sight witnessed by all four of them with joy. Time skip jutsu. After they had calmed down, specifically 10 minutes, the four of them dried their tears and smiles formed on their lips. Alejandro. I'm so glad to meet you. Mayuri. Me too. Dennis. Oh, my little siblings, ever since we were separated I couldn't stop thinking about you, neither could Mom, but she told me to calm down and that we would see each other again, and look at us, here we are. Janet. That's right, my children, I missed you so much. Mayuri. Us too. Ever since we heard about you, we haven't stopped thinking about you. Alejandro. Yes. By the way. Janet. Yes. Alejandro. Pointing at Chara. Who is she? Upon hearing this, the two of them remembered Chara. Chara. Hello. My name is Chara, Chara Dreamer. Alejandro. Dreamer. Chara. Yep, Dreamer. Hiruzen. Well, you've introduced yourselves, it's best if you spend the day getting to know each other. Naruto. Yes, that's better, what we came here to do can wait. Naruko. Yes, it's better to wait, you should get to know each other better. Alejandro. Thank you. Janet. Wow, you're only 5 years old and you're already mature. Alejandro. Not really. Hiruzen. Well, what you wanted to show me can wait, enjoy your day. The 7. Yes. But the 7 left, leaving Hiruzen to do the paperwork. The next day. Hiruzen, Janet, Dennis and Chara can be seen looking at Alejandro, Naruto, Naruko and Mayuri. Hiruzen. Well, kids, what did you want to show me? Chara. Yes, I'm curious. Janet. Dennis. Me too. Alejandro. Well, Grandpa, you know Naruto has a Kekkei Genkai that allows him to transform into ink and control it. Hiruzen. Yes, I'm aware of that. Why do you ask? Alejandro. Well, because I managed to start working on my dream. Janet. Dream? What dream? Naruto. Nai-san's dream is to create his own elements. Hiruzen. Looking at Alejandro. And you managed to make one? Alejandro just smiled and nodded. Hiruzen. Okay, show us. Chara. Before you start, I have a question, Hokage. Hiruzen. What is it? Chara. What is a Kekkei Genkai? Dennis. I have that question too. Janet. Me too. Hiruzen. Well, to sum it up, a Kekkei Genkai is a unique technique or ability that depends on genetic factors which cannot be copied, with some exceptions. In Naruto's case, his Kekkei Genkai allows him to transform into ink and control it. Chara. I understand, thank you. Excited. Well, can you start now? With that, the four of them began performing a sequence of hand seals, surprising Hiruzen since he had never seen that sequence before, catching the attention of Janet and Dennis, and further exciting Chara. Upon finishing. Alejandro Mayuri Naruto Naruko. Ink release. Ink clone jutsu. As they said that, a decent amount of ink came out of each of the containers at their waists, taking the shape and then the appearance of each of them. When they finished, it surprised all four of them, and they had different reactions. Hiruzen was proud, Janet and Dennis were incredulous, and Chara was excited. Alejandro. So, what did you think? Hiruzen. I knew you could do it and I'm proud of you. Janet. You impress me, son. Dennis. Me too, you impress me, little brother. Chara. I definitely want to be a ninja with you guys. Alejandro just smiled but was also impressed, along with the others, that Chara wanted to be a ninja with them. Chara. Yes. Elsewhere. Jiraiya and Minato could be seen chatting while Frisk held a stick. Minato. So, sensei, how much chakra do you have left? Jiraiya. Well, considering what you've taught you, which has only been Kenjutsu and 2 Jutsu, Suiton and Futen, 3 months, 3 days before your 4th birthday. Minato. That should be enough. Looks at the sky. Hang in there, kids, we'll see each other again in a few months. Chapter 5. Minato. That will be enough. Looks at the sky. Hang in there, children, we'll see each other again in a few months. 3 months later, 3 days before Naruto and Naruko's birthday. Hiruzen could be seen sitting at his desk, reflecting on what had happened in recent months. Flashback no jutsu. In these 3 months a few things have happened, which are. The children and Hiruzen told the three that their parents Naruto and Naruko are alive and have 2 siblings, and that they had a plan to unmask his wife. When they heard this, they couldn't help but get angry, but they understood, and strangely enough, Janet was intrigued by Minato. Another thing is that Chara found out, thanks to Hiruzen, that her sister Frisk was with Minato, which made her happy. Also, Alejandro was creating a new element which, in Hiruzen's eyes, was a higher ranking element. This element was Kanten, Chaos M+H, which already had a jutsu called Kanten. Snatching jutsu, which allowed him to steal chakra from an enemy. To the delight of Janet, Dennis, Alejandro, and Mayuri, they got to know each other. The two older girls were amazed that Alejandro, at only 6 years old, was already quite good at cooking. This made them both happy and sad, since they weren't there to help him. Another thing that happened was that Dennis taught them his family's Dojutsu Kekkei Genkai. Alejandro and Mayuri were thrilled to learn that their family possessed a Dojutsu Kekkei Genkai and to discover that it was called Theology and allowed them to copy other Dojutsu and Kekkei Genkai. Hiruzen, upon learning this, nearly fainted from surprise. Last but not least, Naruto and Naruko learned that they would soon see their father again. Vindel flashback no jutsu. At that, Hiruzen sighed. Minato, I hope it's true that they'll arrive today. Village entrance. At the entrance, 5-headed figures could be seen. It was clear they were a large man, a large woman, and 3 children. The man said, finally, I'm back. Naruto, Naruko, Chara, wait for us. They began walking, receiving confused glances. 2 of the children, seeing they were the center of attention, smiled arrogantly, while the other child dismissed their attitude and looked around for someone. The girl asked, where are you, Chara? Before they knew it, they had arrived at the Hokage Tower. Hokage's office. Hiruzen was with Naruto, Naruko, Alejandro, Mayuri, Janet, Dennis and Chara, all of them wearing hoods. It should be noted that Chara had red flashes around her eyes, which gave her an aura of horror. Hiruzen. Are you ready? Naruto. I'm nervous, Hiruzen. Me too, especially with Chara and her sparkles. Everyone nodded while Chara just laughed. Alejandro. You should teach us that. Mayuri Naruto Naruko. Yeah. Chara. Later. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Hiruzen. Come in. Upon hearing that, 5-headed figures entered the office. The 5-headed figures looked at the other 7, causing 4 of them to shudder, while one felt a surge of joy, recognizing the red sparkle emitted by one of the hooded figures. Hiruzen. Well, what do you want? He said this without smiling, since they already knew who they were. Man. Hello, 3rd Hokage, I've come to resume my position. After saying that, he removed his hood, revealing himself to be Minato Namikaze. Hiruzen. Feigning anger Minato, what are you doing here? I thought you were dead. Woman. Calm down, Hiruzen. When she said that, the woman removed her hood, revealing that she was Kushina Uzumaki. Hiruzen. Disgusted Kushina. Silence followed until the boy spoke. Boy. I think this breaks the ice. He said, removing his hood along with another, revealing that they were Menma and Mito, younger siblings of the Uzumaki Namikaze brothers. Hiruzen looked at each of them intently with a serious expression until he spoke, feigning anger. Minato, I want to speak with you alone right now. Minato, playing along and feigning fear, stammered, oh okay, but the other hooded figure has to stay. Okay, go. With that, Kushina and her children left. Once they were far away, the entire room erupted in laughter, with the hooded figure looking confused. I can't believe it worked, Hiruzen chuckled. Me neither, Minato replied. Then the 7 removed their hoods, revealing their identities. Upon seeing Naruto, the hooded figure couldn't help but blush slightly. Seeing their identities, she recognized the 4 children, but was especially pleased to see 2 of them. My children, Minato said. Upon hearing this, Naruto and Naruko burst into tears of joy. Dad. They exclaimed. With that, they ran towards Minato to hug him, making everyone smile. Unconsciously, Alejandro and Chara held hands, but they realized it in time and separated with a slight blush. Once the reunion was over, the hooded figure removed her disguise, revealing herself to be Frisk. Upon seeing her, Naruto couldn't help but blush slightly. Chara, too, couldn't help but run and hug her. Chara. Crying with joy Frisk, my little sister, it's so good to see you. Frisk. Hugging her I'm happy to see you too, Chara. This was happening, watched by everyone with smiles. After the Dreamer sisters' reunion, they caught up, experiencing emotions like anger, sadness, joy, and amazement. When they finished, they began to discuss the plan. Naruto. So, Dad, what's the plan? Minato. I see you already know. Naruko. Yes, Gigi explained it to us. Minato. Good. The plan is as follows. I'll have Kushina sign a divorce decree, but knowing that if we do that, she'd have to keep half of the inheritance, which is why Jiraiya-sensei has already taken care of that. Janet. I'm surprised he's helping her. Minato. Yes, but he learned the hard way. Janet. That's good. Hiruzen. and Menma and Mito. Minato. Jiraiya-sensei and I already took care of that. I'm not their father anymore. Chara. This will be exciting. Just then, Jiraiya enters through the window. Jiraiya. Minato, I found them. As he says this, he shows a red book with the Uzumaki symbol. A yellow book with the Namikaze symbol. And a purple book with the Dreamer's symbol. Upon seeing the 3 books, Naruto, Naruko, Chara and Frisk couldn't help but be surprised. Chara. Where did you get that book? Jiraiya. In the ancient ruins of your clan. Chara, being the eldest daughter makes you the heir. You, Naruto and Naruko, being the eldest children and now only children, are heirs to both clans. Choose wisely. Damn it. Me too. She said, drawing everyone's attention. Damn it. Son, since Dennis doesn't want the position and Mayuri is the youngest, you are the current leader of the Sante's clan. She said, surprising everyone, and showed a royal blue book with the Sante symbol. Alejandro. But mom, I don't think I'm ready. Damn it. I know, but please accept. Don't do it for me or for yourself, do it for your ancestors. Alejandro thought for a moment. Alejandro. Okay, I accept. Everyone smiled at his response. Jiraiya. Changing the subject, when are we going to do it? Minato. Tonight. Jiraiya. Good. Chapter 6. Jiraiya. Changing the subject, when are we going to do it? Minato. Tonight. Jiraiya. Okay. Same day. After reviewing the plan. Minato. Well, is it ready, sensei? Jiraiya. Yes, she deceived me too, just like she did you, and I regret doing that, so I'm already gathering the entire inheritance. Minato. Thank you, sensei. Changing the subject, will you give me back the Hokage position? Hiruzen. Yes, you'll get it back tomorrow. Jiraiya. And what if you announce it tomorrow so everyone knows their Hokage no longer has a wife? Alejandro. Hey. Upon hearing this, Jiraiya turns his head to look at him. Alejandro. You took the words right out of my mouth. At that, Jiraiya couldn't help but be surprised. A 6-year-old boy heard and understood everything. He was very mature for his age, but he felt happy knowing that a child was going to help his student and his children. Jiraiya. Yes, mischievously so he finally comes down to earth, haha. Upon seeing him, a shiver ran down the spines of all the children and the adults simply nodded. Minato. Well, see you later. Frisk, are you leaving or staying? Frisk. I'm staying, I want to be with my sister. Minato. I understand. See you tomorrow, bye kids. Naruko. Yes dad. With that, they said goodbye with a hug and Minato headed to the Namikaze Uzumaki mansion while the others went to their apartments. Streets of Konoha. As he walked, Minato couldn't help but attract people's attention since their Hokage was alive, which made them happy since in their stupid heads was the idea that their Hokage would get rid of the demon. If they only knew, haha. Minato. Right. You son of a don't break the fourth wall, you idiot. Minato. Haha. Leaving aside what happened. Simultaneously. As Minato walked towards the Uzumaki Namikaze mansion, the group continued walking towards the apartments until Frisk spoke. So, Chara, how have you been? Good. I never stopped thinking about you, Asriel, Mom, and Dad. I see. And you and the white-haired one, what are you? At that, they both blushed slightly. We're just friends. That's strange, because when the blonde-haired ones reunited with their father, I saw them holding hands. Everyone looked at them and noticed the small, but noticeable, blushes. That was just an accident. That's right, it was just an accident. Everyone started laughing, making the pair even more uncomfortable. 7u7. The rest. 7u7. Buck you all, first Minato, now you. The rest. XD. Technical problems XD. Uzumaki Namikaze mansion. That evening, at the Uzumaki Namikaze mansion, the family was having dinner when Minato remembered something. I'll be right back, he said. With that, Minato went to the room he shared with his wife to look for some papers. Upon finding them, Jiraiya appeared before him. Leave me alone, Jiraiya said. With that, Jiraiya cast a genjutsu on the papers. There. Jiraiya said, smiling sinisterly, let's finish off that bitch. Yes. Minato replied, mimicking Jiraiya's expression. Yes, Minato said. After that brief exchange, Minato went downstairs with the papers. Kushina, he said, feigning innocence. Yes Minato. Kushi-chan replied. Yes, Mina-kun. Kushina asked, squirming inwardly. I need you to sign this, Minato said. What for? Kushina asked. Nothing important, Minato replied. I just need you to sign it. Okay, Kushina said. Upon hearing that, Kushina signed the papers without reading them, while Minato wore a victorious smile. Thank you, Kushi-chan, he said. The next day. On the Hokage Tower balcony, Minato stood with his family and Hiruzen, while below, hidden away, was a group consisting of Naruto, Naruko, Alejandro, Mayuri, Chara, Frisk, Dennis, and Yanid. Jiraiya was perched in a tree. Returning to Minato. He said, "It's good to see you all again, people of Konoha. I'd also like to tell you about my children Menma and Mito's training. And I'm announcing that I will be resuming my position as Hokage." Upon hearing this, everyone began to cheer. Minato continued, furthermore. This caught the attention of even his family, who were there to rehearse his speech. Those who already knew smiled. Minato added, "I discovered that my own wife was lying to me and planned to take everything from me. Therefore, an acquaintance who was also a victim of hers and I took care of her actions, as we are now divorced." He showed some papers. "In short, she's no longer my wife, she won't receive anything, and Menma and Mito are no longer my children, since we already signed the papers giving her custody of both of them." Upon hearing this, everyone was surprised, except for the group and his family even more so, since Kushina's plan had failed and Mito and Menma would no longer be the Hokage's children. Minato. "I also found out about the treatment my children Naruto and Naruko and their friends Alejandro and Mayuri received." Now everyone was truly stunned. The children they had been beating up all this time were acquaintances of the Hokage. 2 of them were his children and the other 2 were his friends. But there's always that one fool who sticks his nose in where it shouldn't be. Villager X. But Hokage-sama, they are the demon and his followers. At that moment, a murderous feeling emanated from Minato, Hiruzen, and, surprisingly, Chara. Minato. He's not a demon, and they aren't his followers. When the sealing happened, yes, the 9 tails chakra left Naruto's body, but that's normal. When someone becomes a Jinchuriki, they have to die for a few seconds to adapt to the 9 tails chakra. Upon hearing this, everyone was surprised. He wasn't the 9 tails, but some didn't believe it. Yanid had discovered why this happened to her son, but she didn't care. Her son mattered more to her than the 9 tails. Minato was leaving when he stopped. "Minato. I'm also letting you know that Kushina and her children are no longer Uzumaki's. They may have the genes, but they're forbidden from using the surname. And as far as I'm concerned, they also don't have the Namika's surname, and they're forbidden from coming near my house." With that, he left, letting everyone go about their business while they pondered what had happened, leaving his ex-wife and ex-children both shocked and angry. Officina Hokage. Minato sat with a smile. That suffering was finally over. Just then, the group and Jiraiya entered. Jiraiya said, "Finally, it's all over." Naruto replied, "I don't think so, Iro-senin. She'll do everything she can to get back what's hers." Everyone laughed at the nickname, and Jiraiya had a vein throbbing on his forehead, but they all became serious. It was true, Kushina would do everything she could to, according to her, get back what was hers, but they wouldn't just stand idly by. 2 days later. Naruto and Naruko could be seen blindfolded, being guided by Mayuri and Frisk. Naruto. Are we there yet? Mayuri. Almost. After saying that, they continued walking, attracting attention, so 2 older villagers, who accepted Minato's advice, secretly followed them. They walked until they reached a place where everyone was gathered, surprising the villagers, but being sensible, they moved away so the group could enjoy the day. Mayuri. While removing Naruko's blindfolds and Frisk's from Naruto, we're here. Upon opening their eyes. Everyone exclaimed. Surprise. Happy birthday. Both were surprised. It was normal for Mayuri, Alejandro, and their grandparents to celebrate, but now Yanid, Dennis, Frisk, Chara, Jiraiya, and their father were there, which made them cry tears of joy. Naruto. Thank you. With that, they began to celebrate, watched by Menma with envy, since his father had never shown such a smile. But wanting to avoid trouble, he left. After a while, Minato decided to announce something, drawing the group's attention. Well, the 3rd Hokage has already confirmed that you know ninjutsu, so I want to teach you some jutsu, and I also want you to join the academy. This surprised everyone, except for Hiruzen and Jiraiya. They looked at each other and then turned away with smiles. Naruto. We accept. Alejandro Mayuri. We want to go to the academy too. Tara Frisk. And us. Everyone was surprised, then thought, what? Okay, but on one condition. Everyone turned to look at her. Yanid. That I teach classes, but math classes. This surprised everyone, especially the children, but it wasn't their decision, but Minato and Hiruzen's. Hiruzen. I accept. Minato. Likewise, but teach well. Yanid. Smiling I will. At the smile, strange as it may seem, Minato blushed slightly. Chapter 7. Yanid. Fine, but on one condition. Everyone turned to look at her. Yanid. That I teach, but math. This surprised everyone, especially the children, but it wasn't her decision, but Minato's and Hiruzen's. Hiruzen. I accept. Minato. Likewise, but teach well. Yanid. Smiling I will. At the smile, strangely enough, Minato blushed slightly. The next day. Naruto, Naruko, Alejandro, Mayuri, Chara and Frisk could be seen heading to the academy. Naruto. This is going to be exciting. Alejandro. You can say that again. The group entered the academy to go to their classroom. When they knocked, they found a man named Iruka Yamino. Iruka. Hello, oh, nice to meet you, Hokage's children. Naruto. Don't treat us like that, sensei. Let's treat each other like friends and/or sensei. Iruka. Okay. At that moment, Iruka enters the room as everyone makes a racket. Iruka. Guys. No one is listening to him. Iruka. A little angry guys. No one is listening again, making him even angrier, and he uses his patented giant head jutsu. Iruka. Shut up, you bucking idiots. Okay, no XD. Iruka. Shut up, brats. Now everyone can hear you. Iruka. Well, today we have 6 more students. They came on the Hokage's orders. Upon hearing this, everyone was surprised and wondered who they were, while some redeeds and some black-haired students wore smug smiles. Iruka. Come in. With that, our group entered the room, surprising everyone and angering 2 people. Iruka. Please introduce yourselves. The group simply nodded. Alejandro. My name is Alejandro Santos. Naruko. My name is Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze. Chara. My name is Chara Dreamer. Mayuri. My name is Mayuri Santos. Naruto. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Frisk. And my name is Frisk Dreamer. Alejandro. I hope we get along. Closing her eyes, but if you mess with my brothers and friends, opening her eyes suddenly I won't forgive you and/or you'll have a bad time. Upon hearing that, for some strange reason, Alejandro and Chara felt hurt by the word friend, but she felt safe upon hearing, I won't forgive you and/or you'll have a bad time. Iruka. Well, please sit down. With that, the group went to the back of the room with Alejandro and Naruto sitting next to a hooded boy. Boy. Why are you sitting here? Alejandro. Because it was free. Naruto. Is there a problem? Boy. No, it's just that nobody sits next to me because of my insects. Naruto. I don't care about that. Alejandro. Me neither. At that moment, buzzing sounds were heard from the boy's sweater. Boy. You guys like me. By the way, I'm Shino. Said the self-proclaimed Shino. Alejandro. Naruto. Nice to meet you. The class started and went by in a boring way. It was just history and nothing else. Then. Iruka. Well, we'll change classes. Today we have a new teacher. Come in. As he said that, a woman entered whom 7 students recognized instantly, although one had only seen her once. Janet. Hello, kids. My name is Janet Morales Santos, and I'll be your math teacher. Upon hearing her name, everyone was surprised since she shared the last name of 2 of their classmates. Janet. Well, let's begin. The class was interesting for everyone, except for one slacker. But 5 of the students couldn't care less and weren't paying attention. I feel sorry for them on the exam. Time skip jutsu. 7 years have passed and 6 12-year-old boys could be seen. These were Alejandro. Mayuri. Naruto. Naruko. Fresh. And Chara. The 6 of them were walking towards the academy since it was their last day. Chara. Finally, we'll be ninjas. Alejandro. Yes, finally. Naruto. You guys are the same. Villager Chara. Embarrassed he. A lot had happened between them. Flashback no jutsu. And her parents, Toriel and Asger. Respectively. They surprised everyone by having white, blonde, and brown hair, but discovered it was due to their ancestors. They also discovered that a scroll from the Santes contained a chest with books on the use of chakra, kai, magic, and prana, as well as a book titled Chaos Emeralds. Upon reading it, the 6 decided to collect them all, along with the Master Emerald and the Arc Emerald. They also learned that they could learn new jutsus, which motivated them to learn more. Asger, along with the magic book, taught the kids how to make Geister blasters, which surprised them, giving them several types in their arsenal. The adults indirectly discovered that Chara and Alejandro liked each other, as did Naruto and Frisk. They learned to use kai, magic, and prana, as well as how to perform techniques. Alejandro discovered karmic retribution through a piece of paper, which interested everyone in learning about it, as well as activating it with magic. They also managed to find their first Chaos Emerald. The Emerald Chaos of Fire. Last but not least, Alexander and Mayuri accessed each other's theology. Alexander's theology. Theology of Mayuri. Vindel flashback no jutsu. They were so lost in their memories that when they snapped out of them, they realized they had already arrived at the classroom. Naruto. Well, bumping his right fist into his left palm, it's time. The rest. Yes. With that, they entered the classroom for the final exam. Chapter 8. Before we begin, I want to clarify that in the previous chapter 1 forgot to include the following. Kushina tried to get back together with Minato, but seeing that she couldn't, she decided to leave him a year before this day and begin a friendship that turned out well. Naruto and Mayuri know about the feelings Frisk and Naruto have for each other, along with Chara and Alejandro, and are trying to bring them together. Chara and Frisk created 3 variations of the shadow clones. Surprising everyone. Minato trained Alejandro, Mayuri, Naruto, and Naruto in the power of Kurama and Kurumi, in addition to freeing them and having them join the family. The group also created variations of the Rasengan. They learned new jutsu and created new ones using the main and secondary elements. With that said, enjoy and please forgive my inactivity. I've been out 3. Naruto. Well, bumping his right fist into his left palm, it's time. The rest? Yes. With that, they entered the room for the final exam. Academy Hall. Some students were chatting, and fangirls were gathered around Menma and Sasuke, while fanboys were hanging around Mito and Sasuke, Sasuke's twin sister. We all know what Sasuke is like, so I won't post a picture. The latter wore arrogant smiles, displaying their inferiority. They were all so noisy that they didn't even hear our favorite group enter, looking at everyone with a bead of sweat on their brows. And they want to be ninjas. How pathetic. I agree with you, little sister. Let's go sit down. Alejandro. Yes, Aniki. The group went to their seats. Hokage's office. Kushina could be seen standing in front of Minato. Minato. What do you want, Kushina-san? Kushina. I want to be a sensei. She said, surprising Minato and Hiruzen, who was beside her. Minato. Are you sure? I mean, it'll be difficult. Kushina. Yes, but I asked that I not be paired with Menma and Mito at the same time. I can handle 1, but not 2. Minato. Alright. At least she understood and isn't trying to hurt my children. Ack. Everyone was still making noise until Iruka arrived with Yanid. Iruka. Silence. He didn't finish because Yanid interrupted him. Yanid. Shut up or we'll fail you. Hearing that, everyone fell silent while our group stifled their laughter. Iruka. Well, before we begin the exam. He gave such a long speech that even our group had to eat Chara and Alejandro's chocolates to stay awake. When he finished. Iruka. Okay, begin. With that, Yanid gave everyone their exams. Once they had them, our group knew the answers instantly. 5 minutes later, our group finished. Iruka, surprised. Are you all done, guys? The 6. Yes, Iruka-sensei. Hearing that, everyone was surprised. Handing in their exams, the group left. Outside. Everyone could be seen waiting outside, including the Mizukage and the Reikage. Upon seeing them, everyone was surprised, and a group of people felt proud to see who they were. The group decided to go to a tree to rest. Alejandro. Hey. He spoke to get the others' attention. Mayuri. Yes, Oni-chan. Alejandro. Don't show off all your abilities unless it's necessary. Everyone. Yes. Time skip jutsu. After an hour, everyone was leaving, catching the attention of our group, who decided to join the rest of the class. Once we were in a new place. Iruka said, alright, everyone, we'll start with shuriken and kunai throwing, followed by the academy's jutsu and one of your own, and finally, sparring. Okay, let's begin. First, shuriken and kunai throwing. 10 shurikens and 10 kunai. First. Note. I won't go into everything because I'm lazy, so I'll just give the results. There's no need to include images since you already know what they look like. Anyway, let's continue. Iruka. Men first. 2. Shurikens kunace. Civilians. 5/5. Shikamaru Nara. 6/7. Me. You lazy bum. Shikamaru. I just want to avoid getting tired. Me. Don't break the damn fourth wall, we sound like Deadpool. Deadpool appears. Deadpool. Are you talking to me? Me. Go to hell and do your damn shit. You bastard. Deadpool. Comically crying okay, dude. Leaves. Me. Well, let's continue. Hiba Inuzuka. 6/5. Toji Akimichi. 7/6. Shino Aburam. 7/7. Sasuke Uchiha. 8/8. Upon learning their results, he smiled arrogantly as the fangirl squealed at him. Sasuke. Looking at Naruto and Alejandro top that, dobes. Menma. 8/9. The squealing again. Menma. Looking at Alejandro and Naruto top that, useless. Iruka. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto stepped forward and took his kunai and shuriken. Wanting to show off a bit, he added the lightning release element to the shuriken and kunai. When he threw them, they traveled at such a speed that they didn't even see him. When they looked at the targets, they saw they were all embedded. Iruka, in shock. 10 tenths. Upon hearing that, Sasuke and Menma became jealous, the fangirls started to boo, but two of them attracted them because of their power. Iruka. Alejandro Santos. Upon hearing his name, he stepped forward and took the kunai and shuriken. Wanting to do the same as Naruto, he imbued the weapons with a super release element, drawing everyone's attention. When thrown, they all hit their targets, but since there was a touch of lightning release, it caused a shockwave, surprising everyone and making a duck-butt-haired guy and a walking tomato jealous, as well as piquing the interest of two girls. Menma. Those useless guys, those powers should be mine, the god of shinobi. Sasuke. Those dobes, those powers should be mine, only an elite Uchiha should have them. Mito. I already know who my husbands will be, the princesses of shinobi. Sasuke. Those two will be my husbands, I'll only have strong husbands. Balcony of the cages. The cages were surprised. Breakage. Surprised Hokage Dono, what did the white-haired boy use? Pearson. Smiling that Reikage Dono was the super release element. Vizukage. Surprised and incredulous but Hokage Dono, that element doesn't exist. Minato. Smiling now it does. Upon hearing this, the two were astonished. A child had managed to create a new element and even attract the attention of three mummies. The two were already thinking about forming an alliance and the others about making them their personal weapons. Back. Everyone was still in shock until Iruka announced the results. Iruka, in shock. 10 tenths. Alejandro returned while being booed, but he told them to buck off. Like me XD. But the group. Alejandro had arrived with his siblings' friends. Chara. Whispering you said we shouldn't show anything. Alejandro. Whispering I know, but since Naruto wanted to show off, so did I besides, they'll think it's lightning release, since nobody knows about super release. Naruto. Whispering I can't argue with that logic. The rest just nodded and Chara lowered her head. Chara. How did I fall in love with him? With Iruka. Iruka. Well, the women are next. Civilians. 5/5. Sakura Haruno. 7/6. Ino Yamanaka. 6/7. Hinata Hyuga. 8/8. Mito. 9/9. The fanboy started praising Mito as she smiled arrogantly. Sasuke Uchiha. 9/9. More praise. Iruka. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto stepped forward and threw the shurikens and kunai simultaneously, hitting all the targets and surprising everyone. Iruka, surprised. 10 tenths. Next, Mayuri Santes. Upon hearing his name, he stepped forward. Wanting to do the same as his brother, he added elemental chakra to the shurikens and kunai, making them Kesugan element. When he threw them, the targets turned to stone, surprising everyone and making three girls jealous, attracting the attention of two boys and causing Chara to facepalm. Balcony of the cages. Breakage, in shock. Hokage Dono, what was that element? Minato. Smiling that was Kesugan, another element created by Alexander. Upon hearing this, they were even more surprised. The boy had created not one, but two new elements. Back. Iruka, in shock. 10 tenths. Frisk Dreamer. Upon hearing her name, she simply steps forward, grabs, and throws. Seeing what she hit the targets, they are surprised, even knowing her eyes are closed. Iruka, impressed. 10 tenths. Chara Dreamer. The last one stepped forward and did the same as Frisk, hitting all the targets. Iruka. 10 tenths. Menma. They'll be my bitches. Sasuke. I'll make them my wives. Only I should have wives as powerful as them. Hinata. They just want to get Naruto-kun's attention. Sasuke. Stupid, they just want my husband's attention. Mito. Damn bitches. Iruka. Well, the Academy's jutsus and any you might have. I won't list the Academy's jutsu since we all know them. Let's move on to individual ones. Ino. Mind Transfer Jutsu. Shikamaru. Shadow Possession Jutsu. Kiba. Gitsuga. Shino. Insect Swarm. Menma. Rasengan. Incomplete. He smiles arrogantly while receiving praise. Mito. Rasengan. Incomplete. She receives praise. Hinata. 8 trigrams. 64 claps. Joji. Expansion Jutsu. Sasuke. Kaiten. Fireball Jutsu. She receives praise. Sasuke. Kaiten. Fireball Jutsu. He just smiles arrogantly while receiving praise. Iruka. Alejandro Santos. Alejandro steps forward and makes hand seals. Alejandro. Kaiten. Fire Dragon Jutsu. He expels a large fire dragon, surprising everyone. Iruka. Alright, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto steps forward and makes a sequence of hand seals. Naruto. Wind Release. Wind Dragon Technique. He says this to create a large wind dragon. Iruka. Excellent, Chara Dreamer. Tara steps forward and performs a sequence of hand seals that no one recognizes. Tara. Fire release. Fireball technique. As she says this, she expels a blast of fire from which a large fireball emerges, impressing everyone. Tara. If they did it, so can I, he. Naruto. Impressive. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto steps forward and generates a Rasengan, but not just any Rasengan, one of darkness. Naruto. Lightning release. Rasengan. As she says this, she strikes the Rasengan, impressing everyone and making two people jealous. Naruto. Very impressive. Mayuri Santes. Upon hearing her name, Mayuri steps forward and performs a sequence of hand seals. Mayuri. Lightning release. Electric dragon technique. As she says this, an electric dragon is generated above her, surprising everyone. Naruto. Great. Finally, Frisk Dreamer. She simply steps forward and performs a sequence of hand seals. Frisk. Earth release. Earth dragon jutsu. As she says this, an earth dragon emerges from the ground. Naruto. Very good. Well, let's continue with the final phase. The battles. First, the women. I'm too lazy to write out the fights, so I'll just list the important ones. Women's fights. First round. Civilian vs civilian. Civilian. Ino vs Sakura. Draw. Naruto vs Mito. Mito. Give up, you can't beat me, Princess of Shinobi. Naruto said nothing, which annoyed Mito. She lunged to attack, but Naruto dodged and struck her in the back of the neck with her elbow, knocking her unconscious and surprising everyone. Naruto, surprised. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Frisk Dreamer vs Asuki Uchiha. Upon hearing this, both girls came down. Naruto. Alright, begin. Sasuke. Give up, you'll never defeat me. Frisk remained stoic, which angered Sasuke. Sasuke. Listen to me, stone face, I will win and they will be mine. Again, Frisk said nothing, but a little anger was noticeable. Sasuke. Speak, stupid. Frisk. Whispering you've made me angry. Sasuke turned around in surprise. When did Frisk move behind her? Exactly, that was everyone's question, especially those who knew her. In a swift movement, Sasuke tried to strike her, but Frisk stopped the attack with her palm. Frisk. In a sepulchral voice, they don't belong to you. Much less, Naruto-kun. She whispered, then punched her in the stomach, making her spit out saliva and stumble backward, still being held. At that moment, a dark Rasengan began to form in her left hand, surprising everyone. Frisk. Mighten. Rasengan. With that, she slammed the Rasengan into Sasuke's stomach, releasing her and sending her flying. Iruka went to check on her, finding her unconscious. Frisk. Winner, Frisk Dreamer. She simply walked up to the group. But the group. Naruto. Congratulations, Frisk. Frisk, embarrassed, thank you Naruto. Naruto just smiled, making Frisk blush slightly, which was noticed by everyone and angered two people. Back. Chara vs Civil. Chara. Hinata vs Civil. Hinata. Mayuri vs Civil. Mayuri. Civil vs Civil. Civil. Civil vs Civil. Civil. Second round. Civilian vs Naruto. Naruto. Frisk vs Chara. With that, both sisters descended to the field, standing face to face. Chara. Hey little sister. Frisk. What's up? Chara. Let's make a deal. If I win, you open your eyes forever. She said this, drawing everyone's attention, especially Naruto's, since no one had seen her eyes. Frisk. Smiling fine. But if I win, you don't eat chocolate for a month. Upon hearing this, Chara paled slightly but decided to accept. Naruto. Alright, begin. With that, they assumed a battle stance. Frisk drew a stick and Chara a knife. There was tension in the air for 5 minutes until they both launched themselves at each other, exchanging blows and cuts. Suddenly, Frisk jumped back, throwing her stick into the air and forming hand seals. Frisk. Water release. Fish missile jutsu. With that, fish-shaped missiles shot out of her mouth, flying straight at Chara, who sliced them with her knife. But this was a trap. When they finished, Chara saw Frisk standing in front and struck her with a stick, causing everyone to see a heart break slightly for a moment. But the same thing happened to Frisk, as Chara took the opportunity to slash her with her knife. Both separated, somewhat shaken. In a few seconds, they were at it again, exchanging blows and slashes for 5 minutes. They separated again, still somewhat breathless. Chara. Are we done with this? Frisk. Yes. They both began performing a sequence of hand seals. Chara. Frisk. Fire release. Fire dragon jutsu. Water release. Water dragon jutsu. Upon saying that, they both unleashed their dragons, exerting force that surprised everyone with its power. After a minute. Frisk. I think I'd better end this. Frisk just smiled and stopped exerting force, letting Chara's jutsu hit her. Seeing this, Chara ran towards Frisk, while Naruto did the same, and the group grabbed a bag and went to get her. When they arrived, Naruto simply took her. Naruto. Frisk. Frisk. She just coughed and opened her eyes for the first time, hypnotizing Naruto. Naruto. What beautiful eyes. He didn't realize he'd said it out loud until he saw Frisk blush, which made him blush too. Chara. We should take her to the seats. Everyone Naruto. Yes yes. With that, Naruto picked Frisk up princess style, causing her to blush and 5 students to get angry. Time skip jutsu. After healing Frisk, the matches continued. Iruka. Alright, Hinata Hyuga vs Mayuri Santes. Both girls stepped down and faced each other seriously, surprising everyone since Hinata was so serious. Hinata. I won't let you win Naruto-kun's heart. Mayuri. Hey, he's my little brother, calm down. Hinata calmed down a little and got into a fighting stance, while Mayuri did the same. They began a Taijutsu match where they were evenly matched. It lasted 15 minutes, but in a moment of carelessness, Hinata froze, surprising everyone because she had a yellow aura around her, and Mayuri's eyes were flashing purple and yellow. Additionally, a green heart appeared on Hinata's chest. Mayuri. Kindness. Interesting, he. Balcony of the cages. Breakage, surprised. Hokage don't know, what was that? Minato, surprised. I don't know either. Back. Mayuri simply raised her finger and lowered herself, causing Hinata to follow her movements and eventually fall unconscious, leaving Mayuri exhausted. Iruka, surprised. Winner, Mayuri. Alejandro went to Mayuri and carried her like a horse. Alejandro, whispering. You owe us an explanation of how you did that. Mayuri, whispering. I don't know either. Civil versus civil. Civil. Third test. Civil versus civil. Draw. Chara versus Mayuri. Both stepped forward. Iruka. Alright, begin. Both. We forfeit. Everyone was surprised by this but accepted the decision. Iruka. Okay, the newcomers are Chara Dreamer and Mayuri Santes. We'll start with the men's matches, but that will be tomorrow. Get some rest. Everyone, yes sir. And so everyone went home to wait for the matches the next day. Chapter 9. Iruka. Alright, the newcomers are Chara Dreamer and Mayuri Santes. We'll start with the men's matches, but that will be tomorrow. Get some rest. Everyone, yes sir. And so everyone went home to wait for the next day's matches. Time skip jutsu. The next day everyone was waiting for the men's fighting to begin. Balcony of the cages. The cages were waiting for the fights to begin. Breakage. Well, Hokage don't know, I hope you surprise us like you did yesterday. Mizukage. I hope so too. Minato. I won't be deciding that. Breakage Mizukage. Agreed. Back. Everyone was ready to begin. Iruka. Alright guys, let's start. I'll do the same as in the previous chapter. Men's fights. First matches. Kiba vs Civilian. Kiba. Civilian vs Menma. Menma. Choji vs Shikamaru. Choji. By submission. Civilian vs Naruto. Naruto. Sasuke vs Civilian. Sasuke. Shino vs Civilian. Shino. Civilian vs Civilian. Civilian. Alejandro vs Civilian. Alejandro. Second combats. Kiba vs Menma. Menma. Choji vs Naruto. Naruto. Sasuke vs Shino. Sasuke. Civil vs Alejandro. Alejandro. Third battles. Iruka. Menma vs Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Upon hearing their names called, both descended the platform. Menma, with an arrogant smile, received praise, while Naruto calmly walked down. Standing face to face. Iruka said, alright begin. Menma said arrogantly. Give up, you useless thing. You can't beat me, the god of shinobi. But Naruto didn't even flinch. He was looking at something else that caught his attention. This angered Menma. Menma said, listen to me, you useless thing. Naruto replied, sorry, did you say something? Near there. In the stands, a one-eyed scarecrow felt a connection and smiled beneath his mask. Back. Menma was so furious that he blindly attacked, only to be blocked by Naruto. Suddenly, Menma unleashed the Kyuubi's cloak, surprising everyone. Menma chakra. I'll kill you, you useless thing. Menma dropped to all fours and started running towards Naruto, who was having a tough time, worrying his siblings, father, friends, and especially Frisk. Just as Naruto was about to be struck by Menma's claw, everyone saw him turn into ink, leaving everyone astonished, except for a small group who were relieved. Balcony of the cages. The cage and the 3 mummies were astonished. Mizukage. Hokage don't know, what did your son do? Hiruzen. That, Mizukage don't know, is Naruto's Kekkei Genkai. This surprised the group even more, well the mummies already had a macabre idea. returning. But it didn't end there. When Menma tried to remove the chains, he couldn't. Menma chakra. What the hell? The only response he received was chains emerging from the pool, surprising everyone even more. Kushina. The adamantine chains. If Minato gives me permission, just like those two, I'll help you use them. It's good that you allowed me to keep my Uzumaki blood. Menma tried to remove the chains, but he couldn't. Suddenly, he felt his chakra being drained. This lasted until the cloak disappeared. Menma, angry. Take these stupid things off me. The pool only began to rise, revealing Naruto, who still had the chains. Naruto. You've already lost. Menma, angry. I will never lose. I am the god of shinobi. You don't deserve these things, but I do. Your sisters and friends will be my bitches, so let me go. With the group. Alejandro. This is going to get ugly. Back. What Menma didn't know was that he had angered Naruto. In his right hand, Naruto generated a grey-purple Rasengan. Naruto. Hitting Menma in the stomach Rasengan. Upon hearing that, everyone was surprised, but they were frightened when they saw that when he hit Menma, he drew a lot of blood, leaving behind rock fragments and burns that rendered Menma unconscious. Iruka quickly went to check on Menma and was relieved to see that he was alright. Iruka. The winner is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Medics. The medics went to Menma while Naruto just went to sit next to Frisk, falling asleep with his head in her lap, making her blush. He also received mischievous looks from his parents and friends, and envy and anger from the rest. Time skip jutsu. 30 minutes after Menma and Naruto's fight, Naruto wakes up. Iruka. Alright, next match. Sasuke Uchiha vs Alejandro Santos. They both go downstairs, Sasuke receiving praise and sporting an arrogant smile, while Alejandro just stands there staring at the same spot Naruto had seen, surprised by what he saw. When they arrive, they come face to face. Iruka. Alright, begin. Sasuke. Give up, dope. You can't beat me, an elite Uchiha. Alejandro. Let's finish this quickly. Sasuke. This time I agree with you, and besides, they'll be mine. Alejandro. Whispering shut up. Sasuke notices Alejandro behind him, but he can't do anything since Alejandro lightly hit him on the back of the neck, surprising everyone, as the elite Uchiha had been easily defeated. Iruka. Winner, Alejandro. Alejandro simply left, going somewhere, attracting attention. She took something and surprised her friends and sisters when they saw what she had. In her hand she held the Chaos Emerald of Electricity. Having obtained the emerald, he returns to the group. With the group. Alejandro had arrived with them. Alejandro. Second emerald obtained. Chara. Yes, second. Iruka. Final fight. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze vs Alejandro Santos. Upon hearing their names, the two siblings looked at each other, smiled, and went downstairs. Below. Down below, the two brothers looked at each other with confident yet analytical expressions. Iruka. Alright, begin. They just stared at each other, creating a palpable tension in the air. In a swift movement, they launched themselves into a fierce Jujutsu battle, exchanging kicks and punches, receiving and blocking. Suddenly, they separated and formed hand seals. Alejandro Naruto. Fire release. Fire Dragon Jutsu Water release. Water Dragon Jutsu. With that, they both unleashed their dragons, creating a smokescreen. Nothing was visible, but instinctively, Naruto dodged a beam of energy. When it dissipated, nothing was visible except Alejandro standing and Naruto in a different position. They looked at each other again, drew knives, and lunged at each other, beginning a kenjutsu battle, slashing and blocking. They separated and lunged again, but due to Alejandro's carelessness, Naruto turned into ink, forcing him back. Surprisingly for those who didn't know, the puddle began attacking Alejandro, forcing him to dodge all of its attacks. Now desperate, he slashed at the puddle, causing it to shift and crash to the ground, rise upwards, and transform into Naruto. Seeing each other, they smiled and generated a yellow Rasengan in their hands. Ready, they charged at each other. Alejandro Naruto. Kai. Rasengan. Their techniques collided and they began to struggle, each vying for the upper hand. They struggled for control. The fight progressed rapidly and they began to tire, losing focus and causing their attacks to explode, surprising everyone and frightening their friends. When the smoke cleared, they were both seen lying on the ground with burns on their hands. Alejandro. I think we went too far. Naruto. You think so? Alejandro. A tie. Naruto. Yes. Alejandro Naruto. We surrender. Hearing the shout, their friends rushed to their aid, while Iruka emerged from the shock. Iruka. If it's a tie, then the rookies are Alejandro Santos and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. This provoked boos that Sasuke-kun or Menma-kun should be the rookies and other things. Time skip jutsu. 15 minutes later, everyone had their headbands. Chara, Mayuri, Alejandro, and Naruto's were black. Minato. Congratulations, kids, you're ninjas now. Naruto, thanks dad. Janet. Take care of yourselves, children. Alejandro. You know I'll take care of that. Ennis. I know, but we're worried about you, Atoto. Alejandro. Yes, we'll be careful. Toriel. My girls, you fill me with pride. Asger. Uphold the dreamer name. Jara. Yes, dad, we will. Just then, an Anbu appeared in front of the group without noticing Minato. Anbu. Uzumaki-san, Dreamer-san, Sante-san, the council calls for you. Then he left. Minato. Let's go, I have a bad feeling about this. The 6. Yes. Chapter 10. Anbu. Uzumaki-san, Dreamer-san, Sante-san, the council is calling you. Then he leaves. Minato. Come on, I have a bad feeling. The 6. Yes. Hokage's office. A meeting of the civilian council was taking place in the office. Suddenly, the shinobi council arrived, surprising everyone. Danzo. What are you doing here? Shikaku. Hokage-sama told us there was going to be a meeting and that you started it, so he asked us to come. The civilian council was surprised. How did the Hokage find out about the meeting? They couldn't think any further because our favorite group entered, followed by Toriel, Azriel, Yanit, Hiruzen, and Minato. The latter two sat down, Minato at his desk and Hiruzen beside him. Minato. Well, who started this meeting? Danzo. It was me, Hokage-sama. Minato. And why did you start it? Danzo. We've all seen the abilities of the boys and we want both of you to give your abilities to Sasuke-sama and Menma-sama. Furthermore, the 4 of you will be wives of the 2 of them. Minato. Denied. Kaharu. They can't do that. They both have abilities they shouldn't have. Hiruzen. They acquired them on their own, not just like that. Danzo. Then let them join Root. Minato. Denied. This started to anger the 3 mummies since they weren't getting anywhere. Danzo, confident. Then let's have a vote. Minato. If you do that, you'll be accused of conspiracy. Hamura. That's outrageous. The demon and his follower shouldn't have those abilities. Those abilities should belong to Sasuke-sama and Menma-sama. Naruto. Shut up. You dared to yell at the Hokage in his face and in front of everyone. Hamura. You shut up, you damn demon. This isn't about you. Alejandro. Then if it's not about us, why did you call us here? After that, everything fell silent. The shinobi council was surprised. 2 young men, who looked angry, had remained calm. On the other hand, the civilian council was furious with Hamura. That one comment had ruined everything. Alejandro, more seriously. Answer me. If our presence isn't necessary, why did you call us? Everyone was scared, especially those who knew him. Alejandro had never been so serious. Danzo. I say we should just throw them in. Minato. I already said no. Danzo was furious, but suddenly he felt a sharp pain in his head. Danzo. That's strange. Alejandro. Shut up or we'll tell them your little secret. Danzo couldn't say anything because the pain returned, leaving him intrigued as he looked at Alejandro, who was still serious, but didn't care. Minato. If that's all, this meeting is adjourned. Everyone left, the shinobi council surprised and the civilians angry. As the group was about to leave. Minato. Alejandro, stay a little while, some people want to see you. Alejandro just nodded as he sat down in front of Minato, who was worried by Alejandro's seriousness, and the others left. Time skip jutsu. 30 minutes later the Mizukage and the Reikage entered to see Alejandro, who was calmer with a notebook and pencil, while Minato waited. Hiruzen went to rest. Reikage. Hokage Dono, we've arrived. Saying this drew the attention of Minato and Alejandro, who were already wondering why they had come. Minato. Mizukage Dono, Reikage Dono, it's good that you've arrived. Here he is. Alejandro simply stood up. Alejandro. Bowing, it's a pleasure to meet you, Mizukage-sama, Reikage-sama. Mizukage. The pleasure is ours as well, young Santes. They both sat down next to Alejandro, who had already put away his notebook and pencil. Minato. So, to what do I owe your visit? Reikage. We've come to form an alliance through marriage. Alejandro. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I won't accept. I won't marry someone who doesn't want to. I'm sorry, but I reject your offer. Mizukage. And that's why I had something else in mind. He said, drawing everyone's attention. Mizukage. How about an alliance where you teach us at least 3 of the Supaten and Kesegan jutsu in exchange for military service? This surprised the 2 Kage, who were, to say the least, excited. On the other hand, Alejandro was a little incredulous. Alejandro. It sounds very tempting, but I don't really know. Reikage, somewhat annoyed. Why do you say you don't know? Alejandro. The elements I'm creating are being done secretly under orders from Hokage-sama, which is why if I give them to you, some of you might copy them, and I don't want that. Upon hearing this, the two Cage understood instantly. Izukage. At least you can teach them to us Cage. Alejandro. They'll only be with you. Breakage. Can the future Cage also learn them? Alejandro just put his hand to his chin. After 2 minutes. Alejandro. I accept. Only you and the future Cage will learn them. No one else. Izukage. I have no problem with that. Breakage. Me neither. Minato. If that's all, you can come to the Dreamer Uzumaki Namikaze-sante's compound tomorrow. It'll be ready this afternoon and we'll move there. Everyone was surprised by this. Minato. Relax, only 4 clans are joining together, that's all. This surprised them even more, but Alejandro was relieved. He could protect his siblings, his family, his friends' families, and Chara. Thinking of Chara, he blushed, which didn't go unnoticed by the Cage. 2 were confused, but 1 wasn't. Izukage. Alright, we'll see you tomorrow. Minato. Yes, I'll send an Anbu to let you know when you can come. Both Cage. Yes. With that, both Cage left, leaving Alejandro and Minato alone. Alejandro. Well, now I want to know about what you said about the compound. Minato just laughed nervously. The next day. The students were goofing around, while our group was more cheerful since they'd all been living together since yesterday. Changing the subject, everyone was waiting for Iruka. When he arrived, he silenced them and assigned the teams. Iruka. Team 7. Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno. As he said that, a shriek was heard that almost deafened everyone. Iruka. Menma. Sensei Kushina. Menma and Sasuke just smiled since they would be together. Iruka. Team 11. Sasuke Uchiha, Mito and Sai. Sensei Makoto Uchiha. Both girls were disappointed since they wanted to be with Naruto and Alejandro. Iruka. Finally, the special team made by the Hokage himself. Menma. That must be us. Iruka. Team 0, made up of Alejandro Santes, Mayuri Santes, Chara Dreamer, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze, and Frisk Dreamer. Senseis Kakashi Haddock and Anko Midarashi. Menma, angrily. That's outrageous. I should be on that team. Iruka. If you have a problem, talk to the Hokage. This made Menma sit down angrily. Iruka. Good. It was a pleasure being your sensei, and I'll see you later. With that, he left the room. Time skip jutsu. 2 hours had passed, and teams 0, 7, and 11 were waiting for their senseis. Menma and Sasuke were bored, Mito and Sasuke were chatting, Sai was drawing, Sakura was pacing angrily, while our group was playing cards. Just then, the senseis arrived. Sakura shrieked, "You're late." That shriek was more than enough to make many of the ears hurt. Kakashi said, "We'll see you on the rooftop in 5 minutes." With that, he disappeared with the other senseis. Naruto simply spread his ink, surrounding the others so that they, along with him, dissolved into ink and went to the rooftop. Time skip jutsu. 5 minutes later, they were all on the rooftop. Kakashi. Alright, introduce yourselves. Sakura. And how do we do that? Alejandro. If you don't know how you got here, then how could you? I mean, it's easy to do. Even a child could do it. That infuriated Sakura, but she was right. How could he even think of asking that when it's such a simple thing? Putting that aside, they began introducing themselves and setting the time and place to meet. Time skip jutsu. After the introductions, Alejandro was at home with Minato, waiting for the Cages. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Janet. I'll get it. Janet went to answer it and ran into the Mizukage and the Reikage. Reikage. Hello, who are you? Janet. Excuse me. I'm Janet, Alejandro's mother. But I agree. Stepping aside, please come in. Both Cages. Thank you. The two entered, guided by Janet to the living room. Upon arriving, they saw Alejandro eating chocolate and Minato drinking water. Izukage. We're here. Minato. Please sit down. Izukage. Thank you. Janet. I'll leave you now. Alejandro. Thanks mom. Janet simply stood up and left, leaving the 4 of them in the living room. Alejandro. Good. Placing a notebook on the coffee table, this notebook contains the 6 jutsu we agreed on. 3 of the Supaten element and 3 of the Kesugan element. To create Supaten, you must combine the Raiten and Doten elements, while for Kesugan, you must combine the Doten and Raiten elements, respectively. Breakage. We understand, thank you. Well, let's begin with the alliance. With that, the 3 Cage signed the alliance treaty, observed by Alexander, who only gave a small smile. Chapter 11. Before we begin, from this chapter onwards, the others will be written as they are written here, as I feel I'm wasting too much space. PSD. Sorry for the delay 3. Breakage. We understand, thank you. Well, let's begin with the alliance. Having said this, the 3 Cage signed the alliance treaty, watched by Alexander, who only gave a small smile. Time skip jutsu. The next day, at training field number 7, teams 7 and 11 were waiting for their teammates. 2 hours later, our group arrived. Sakura. Squealing, you're late. Everyone covered their ears because of the pain. Tara. Cleaning her ears, shut up, you idiot, you're making us deaf. That made Sakura furious. Alejandro. Rubbing his ears also, have the senseis arrived? Sasuke. No, Alex-kun. When he said that, everyone was surprised and that made Chara furious. Alejandro. First of all, don't call me Alex-kun. And second, if he hasn't arrived yet, then we're not late. Sasuke. A little annoyed, I can't argue with that logic. Having said that, Sasuke only got a little angry and even more so because her brother wasn't supporting her. On the other hand, Chara was more relieved since Alejandro had denied using the affectionate term and she was also amused that the duck butt wasn't helping his sister. An hour later, the teachers arrived. Sakura tried to say something, but a ball of ink covered her mouth. Kushina. Thank you, Naruto-san. I didn't want to get an earache. Naruto. You're welcome, Kushina-sensei. Kakashi. Alright, let's begin. You'll be taking a test to see if you're worthy of becoming shinobi. Menma. I don't think that's necessary with me, the great Kami no shinobi. Naruto. Menma, you're so stupid I can't even insult you. It's obvious we have to do this. First things first, practice. This is practice. Although I think I know what the test is about and I think Alejandro knows it too. Kakashi. Setting a timer, you're right, Naruto, this is practice. Then they pull out bells. Enko. You'll have to take these bells from us, kids. Sakura. Wiping off the ink, but sensei, there are only 8 bells and there are only 12 of us. Makoto. Exactly, because from team 7 and 11 there will only be 2 on each team and from team 0 only 4 members. That made everyone pale, well our group already knew what the test was about. Kakashi. Alright. Begin. Having said this, they all jumped up and hid. Kakashi, Makoto, Kushina, Anko. At least they know how to hide. With our group. They were gathering in a tree. Naruto. I'm sure you already know what the test is about. Frisk. Of course, we're not that dumb, Naruto-kun. Everyone was surprised by what Frisk said, Naruto blushed a lot and when Frisk realized it, she blushed just like Naruto. Tara. Our little sister, I didn't know that about you. Frisk. Blushing, shut up. Well, how do we do this? Naruto. Blushing, I have a plan. Everyone paid attention to him. Back. Team 7 and 11 could be seen unconscious while the senseis stood there, except for Kakas, who was sitting on a log reading an orange book. 7U7. Kakas. 7U7. V. Kakas. XD. Everything was calm until Naruto appeared. Enko. Smiling sadistically, it seems they'll all attack us one by one. Well, so be it. Naruto simply runs towards her senseis, starting a taijutsu fight with Kakashi, which is proving quite difficult. Anko then throws a series of senbon that hit her directly in the head. But to everyone's surprise, she melts into a pool of ink. Anko, surprised. What happened? Kakashi. If I remember correctly, sensei told me they mastered an element created by Alejandro. Makoto, surprised. And what is that element? Kakashi. It was the Inkuten element. Alejandro. Walking towards them, it seems Hokage-sama informed you about my sensei. Kakashi. Yes. He told me not to underestimate them. I see he was right. It's incredible that you created new elements. That's your dream. To create new elements. Alejandro. That's clever, sensei. But let's finish this. This will blind them, but it will blind us too. And please, Makoto-sensei, don't copy them. Makoto. I would never do that. Alejandro, smiling. Good. Alejandro simply creates a sequence of unknown stamps, surprising everyone. Alejandro. Sen. Dispersed blizzard jutsu. Having said that, a rather thick blizzard surrounded the entire field. When it was ready, nothing could be seen. Alejandro. Now. With that, our group ran towards the senseis, who were having a tough time since they couldn't see anything. Kakashi was fighting Alejandro, Anko was fighting Chara, Naruto and Naruko were fighting Makoto, and Frisk and Mayuri were fighting Kushina. Just then, the other 2 teams woke up, barely able to see through the blizzard. Menma. What is this? Mito. I don't know, but it's hard to breathe. Then the sound of metal clashing against metal could be heard, indicating that the fight was a kenjutsu battle. Suddenly, those fighting were exhausted and finding it difficult to breathe. Alejandro. Kai. As he said that, the blizzard dissipated, revealing Team 7 and Team 11 awake, while the senseis and Team 0 were breathing heavily. Enko. You're good, kid. Tara. Thanks. Kakashi. I'm impressed, Alejandro, by your ability to create new elements. Alejandro. It's difficult but not impossible, haha. At that moment, Menma rushed towards Kushina, knocking her unconscious. Then Sasuke faced Kakashi, but the outcome was the same. Mito fought Anko, also with the same result. Sakura was simply caught in a genjutsu and knocked out of the fight. Sai fought Makoto alone, but the result was the same. Only Sasuke remained. She knew she couldn't do it alone. She saw she was at a disadvantage, so she did something her team never thought possible. She joined the other team. Sasuke, can we work together? Mayuri, at least you have common sense. Unlike them. Sasuke, Alejandro, let's go. But that said, everyone runs towards the four senseis, starting a 7 vs 4 Taijutsu fight. At that moment, Sasuke makes a hand seal. Sasuke, Kaiten, Jutsu Bola de Fuego. He inflates his chest and expels a fireball which the senseis dodge, but it was a distraction. Sasuke, now. Upon hearing that, both couples looked up and saw Alejandro and Naruto forming hand seals. The others also woke up. Alexander Naruto. Raiden. Electric Dragon Jutsu. As they said that, they both launched 2 electric dragons. But surrounding the 4 senseis were the other 4, making hand seals. Mayuri Naruko Chara Frisk. Futen. Jutsu Grand Tornado. As they said that, the 4 of them placed their hands on the ground, creating a huge tornado that swept away the 4 senseis. But they realized that the dragon was colliding with the tornado. Alexander Mayuri Naruto Naruko Chara Frisk. Combination Jutsu. Dragon Emperor Castle. As she said that, the tornado electrified, with several dragons swirling around it, damaging the senseis. This impressed Sasuke and made Menma, Sasuke, and Mito jealous. As the senseis fell, the 7 fighters jumped up and grabbed the 8 bells. Just then, the clock ticked and Naruto leaped toward the senseis, spreading his ink so that they, along with Naruto, were covered in it. This further inflamed Menma and Sasuke, angered Sakura, who thought her Sasuke-kun deserved this, and caught Mito's attention, who was already planning to make him her husband. And Sai, well, he was Sai. The ink, now on the ground, leaped out, revealing the senseis and Naruto. Kakashi. Time's up. Team Zero and Sasuke advanced. Everyone was celebrating, and Frisk kissed Naruto on the lips, which he reciprocated, much to the surprise and jealousy of Mito and Sasuke. Sasuke, however, decided to let it go and try to get to know Alejandro. She might fall in love easily, but she wasn't obsessive. But Sasuke realized what Kakashi had said. Sasuke. But why did Sasuke get through and we didn't? Kushina. Because she saw she was at a disadvantage against us. Alejandro. And as the saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Menma. What a stupid thing to say. Sasuke. Say what you want because I saw I couldn't beat them. Kakashi. I'll give you another chance. You can eat, but Menma won't. Upon hearing this, Menma wanted to protest, but Mito silenced him with her hand, as if to say, don't say anything stupid. Reluctantly, Menma sat down, watching his teammates eat while his stomach growled and the other team watched from a distance. Then Sasuke passed him some food. Sakura. Mini squealing, what are you doing, Sasuke Baka? Sasuke. Giving her food, feeding this idiot. Without him, you can't win. Sasuke. Giving her food, as much as it pains me to admit it, she's right. Eat, and then you can help us. Menma simply opens his mouth and eats. At that moment, Makoto appears with her Sharigan activated and Kushina, with her chains, startles the 6 of them with their sudden appearance. Makoto, serious. You. An awkward silence fell. Kushina, cheerfully. They passed. This took the group by surprise, but they came out when Alejandro walked towards them applauding. Alejandro. Congratulations, you passed. Before you ask, the test was a team effort. Enko. You're smart, kid. Alejandro. Thanks, sensei. Clapping okay. Who wants me to make a cinnamon caramel cake? Suddenly Frisk and Chara appear with stars in their eyes. Chara Frisk. Excited me. Alejandro. Well, let's go. Having said this, the group leaves, followed by their senseis. Chapter 12. Alejandro. Thank you, sensei. Clapping okay. Who wants me to make a cinnamon caramel cake? Suddenly Frisk and Chara appear with stars in their eyes. Chara Frisk. Excited me. Alejandro. Well, let's go. Having said this, the group leaves, followed by their senseis. Time skip jutsu. A month has passed since they began their ninja career and a few things have happened. Frisk and Naruto confessed their feelings and started a relationship, as did Chara and Alejandro. Frisk and Chara began something they decided to do in secret with Alejandro, Mayuri, Naruto, and Naruko, behind their senseis' backs. Mito gave up trying to win over Naruto and Alejandro with the help of Sasuke, who had already moved on. And most notably, they made nothing but D-rank moves. At this moment, our group was returning from a D-rank mission, which consisted of capturing the demon of all genin, the great cat Tora, but the curious thing is that none of us were injured like the other teams. Naruto. Stroking the cat's head. Little Tora, you're so cute, aren't you, Frisk? Frisk. Yes, he's very cute. Kakashi. I'm still amazed at how they managed to tame the genin demon. Not even Kushina came out unscathed. Mayuri. It's because they don't treat him like a domestic cat that's been mistreated, but like an uncivilized animal. Yum yum yum. Upon hearing that, everyone turns to see Chara and Alejandro eating chocolate. At that moment, they both notice the stares. Alejandro. Chara. What? Naruto. Nothing, I'm just still incredulous that you two are chocolate lovers. Alejandro. Chara. Scratching the back of his head. They continued walking until they reached the Hokage Tower. Hokage's office. Kushina and Mikoto could be seen alongside Team 7, consisting of Menma, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno, and Team 11, consisting of Mito, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sai. The two teams had encountered each other and decided to travel together. Kushina. Mikoto. Team 7-11's reporting in. Minato. Nodding yes. Report. They decided to report what happened. Hiruzen. Well, there are other missions that are. He couldn't finish because Team 0 entered with Tora the cat perched on Frisk's head, who was sleeping, impressing everyone. Then the daimyo's wife went to get the cat. It's daimyo. Hugging, squeezing the cat. My little Tora, you're here. This was watched by everyone with a bead of sweat on the back of their neck until Frisk took the initiative. Frisk. Ma'am, I ask you not to hug Tora like that, instead give him caresses, we verified it when we caught him. The daimyo's wife heard that and put it to the test, surprised to find it was true. Daimyo. Wow, thanks for the info. Giving money to each one. Here you go, for the information. Alejandro. Mayuri. Naruto. Chara. Frisk. Yes, thanks. This action surprised everyone, but they let it go. Hiruzen. Well, the missions are Naruto. Sorry to interrupt Gigi, but could you please give us a C rank mission? I know it's early, but to gain experience we need to be in action. So, speaking for my entire team, can we have a C rank mission? Hiruzen and Minato looked at each other and nodded. Hiruzen. Okay, but it would be alongside Team 7 and Team 11, is that okay? Everyone nodded without hesitation, excited to be heading out on a higher ranking mission. The teams were all in agreement, though two wanted to prove they were better, which they weren't. One was motivated solely by their Sasuke-kun, two wanted to try and chat with the other team, and one couldn't care less. The two senseis were incredulous and had their own ideas. Mikoto wanted her children to experience the life of a ninja and was curious about Alejandro and his jutsu, while Kushina wanted to try and teach Naruto and Naruko how to use adamantine chains. Hiruzen. Good, let the customer in. 5 minutes after saying that, a man of about 50 or 60 years old entered carrying a bottle of sake. The smell was so strong that when it reached Frisk, they began to stagger without anyone noticing. Hiruzen. Guys, this is Tazuna. You must escort him to the land of waves. Tazuna. These are the brats who are going to escort me. An emo with a duck butt and his normal twin sister, a walking tomato with a god complex and a somewhat normal twin sister, a bubblegum-haired plank, a gay vampire, a two-toned firecracker, an unripe tomato, a semen-haired guy, a gold curly-haired girl, a freckled girl, and a nearly wooden-faced girl. Upon hearing that, Team 7 and 11 were so furious they wanted his head. Team 0 was angry but kept their cool. But what happened next left them in shock. Frisk, drunk. Listen here, you stupid builder hick, I won't allow hick you to insult my sister, my friends, or especially my boyfriend hick. No one believed it, Frisk yelled to someone. But Chara remembered the smell that filled the place. Chara. No way. Frisk, are you drunk? Frisk, drunk. Me, drunk. Hiccup. No, little sister hiccup. Chara. I'll take her home. Minato. Yeah. Kakashi. See you in an hour. Chara. Better yet, an hour and a half. I promise. Kakashi simply nodded. After that, everyone went to pack their things. Sante's Uzumaki Namika's Dreamer Complex. Janet can be seen preparing food with Kurumi and Toriel, while Kurama, Asger, and Asriel set the table. Just then, the kids enter with a drunk Frisk. Kurama. Hey kids. Frisk, drunk. Hey flea-ridden hiccup. Kurama, angry. What did you say, brat? Frisk, drunk. You heard me, you cheap flea-ridden fox. Chara. She's drunk. An old man was drinking strong sake and, well, you know what happened. Toriel. I see, I hope my child sobers up. Janet. Don't worry, she'll get over it. Are you going on a mission? Alejandro. Yep, we're going on a C-rank mission, but we're going to get ready for an A-rank one, just in case. Everyone stared in disbelief until Kurumi spoke. Kurumi. Good thinking, you never know what might happen. Alejandro. Yes. Everyone went to get their things ready except Frisk, who was being cared for. When she recovered, she went to pack her things. Time skip jutsu. Team 7 and 11 could be seen at the door next to Tazuna, then Team 0 arrived. Sakura, squealing. You're late. Everyone covers their ears because of the screeching. Chara. Shut up, ironing board. Can't you see you're hurting us with your damn squealing? That obviously angered Sakura. But before she could say anything, the teachers arrived. Kakashi. Ready. Okay, let's go. But that said, they all set out to do their first C-rank mission. Chapter 13. Kakashi. Ready. Okay, let's go. But that said, they all set out to do their first C-rank mission. Time skip jutsu. A group of 17 people could be seen. Tazuna, the bridge builder. Team 7, consisting of Menma, Sasuke and Sakura. Team 11, consisting of Sasuke, Mito and Sai. Team 0, consisting of Alejandro, Mayuri, Naruto, Naruko, Chara and Frisk. And the 4 senseis. Kushina from Team 7, Mikoto from Team 11 and Kakashi and Anko from Team 0. They were all walking while Chara prevented Tazuna from drinking sake. Tazuna. Brat, let me have a drink. Chara. No, because if I let my sister get drunk. Tazuna. That's none of my business. Chara. Then it won't be my business to let her have it. Upon hearing that, Tazuna becomes nervous while the others are surprised. Alejandro. Let's keep going. Do you want a Pemel? Chara. Okay. And yes, I do want one. Chara takes a Pemel and they decide to continue. Sasuke. I have a question, where did you get those? Naruto. He made them. Anko. Do you know about baking? Alejandro. He always made their birthday cakes. This surprised everyone, but they decided to let it go. Some time later, our group passed by a puddle of water, spotted by the senseis and Team 0. As we got closer, 2 ninjas emerged from the puddle, tying the senseis up with a chain and cutting them apart in front of everyone. Ninja 1. But look what we have here, hand over the builder and we won't kill you. Azuna and Team 7 and 11 were terrified, they had just witnessed a murder, whereas Team 0 was normal. Naruto. Wow, I don't think that's going to work. Ninja 2, arrogantly. Oh yeah, and how are they going to stop us? Both ninjas began to laugh arrogantly, sending shivers down the spines of the other genin and Tazuna. Seeing this, Naruto simply glanced at his companions, who all nodded in agreement. Then, Naruto pulled a kunai from his pouch, one that caught their attention because it wasn't like any they were used to. Ninja 2. Ha. Don't think that having a pretty kunai makes you look good. We can handle you. Naruto. If I were you I wouldn't say that. Don't underestimate us. With that, he lunged at the ninja, initiating a kinjutsu fight, slashing and blocking left and right. At one point, the other ninja tried to slash Naruto, but Alejandro blocked it with a kunai almost identical to Naruto's. Alejandro. I won't let you touch my brother. Ninja 1. With that, a kinjutsu fight began against Alejandro, revealing their combat experience. In a dirty move, they both tried to strike with their chains, but were stopped by 3 types of shuriken from Chara, Naruko, and Mayuri. The ninjas were surprised to see this. Ninja 2. Wow, you were right, I shouldn't have underestimated them. Naruto. I told you so. Now, Chara, Naruko. Naruko Chara. Yes. Upon saying that, both ninjas are enveloped in ninja threads, leaving them immobile. Ninja 1. Ha. Do you think this will stop us? With that, they both broke free from the strings and jumped towards the genin. But they didn't know it was a trap. Ninja 2. Die. Naruto. Now. Having said that, Frisk, holding a bow and 2 arrows, aims at the ninjas. After releasing them, she quickly makes a hand seal and says. Frisk. Taju. Arrow clone jutsu. But that said, from the 2 arrows, another 18 are generated, giving a total of 20 arrows which hit the ninjas directly, leaving one dead and the other seriously injured. Ninja 1. Bad damned. Finally, he fell dead, and a faint red glow appeared in Frisk's eyes, unnoticed by everyone except Chara. Just then, the senseis emerged from the bushes. Sakura. Sensei. Menmamito. Mom. Kakashi. Well done, Team 0, good demonstration. You kept your cool and did a great job as a team. Kushina. On the other hand, you didn't do anything. Menma. But Mom. Kushina. But nothing. At least Mito, Sasuke and Sai protected the builder. Mikoto. And I have to say I like their quick reaction. Even though they were scared, they managed to put it aside and protect Azuna. Upon hearing this, Team 7 felt jealous. Menma because his sister was being acknowledged by their mother, Sasuke like Menma and Sakura because she thought they were overshadowing her Sasuke-kun. They were also jealous of Team 0. Kakashi. Well, Mr. Tazuna, we need an explanation. Tazuna sighs. I knew this time would come. Well, the reason is because Gato is trying to kill me. Chara. Gato. The billionaire Gato of Gato Enterprises. Tazuna. Yes. Do you know him? Chara. Do we know him? He was the bastard who attacked our clan just because we wouldn't give him money. Tazuna. Wow, I didn't know that. But yes, Gato is doing the same thing to us, leaving us in poverty, and that's why I'm building the bridge, so we can recover and lose his power over us. Upon hearing that, everyone is surprised and angry. Kushina. Excuse me, but this is an A rank mission, not a C rank. We'll have to go back and explain. Frisk. You guys go ahead, I have a score to settle with that bastard. Everyone is surprised to hear Frisk say that. But they are even more shocked and frightened to see that their once royal blue eyes are now ruby red, just like Chara's. Chara. I have a score to settle with him too. Naruto. We won't let those people suffer anymore. Naruto. Yes. Alejandro. If I were someone else, I'd say they're crazy. But since I'm not, I'll go. Mayuri. I'm going to kick that son of a bitch's ass. Upon hearing those words, Tazuna was surprised and grateful. Makoto. Sorry to burst your bubble, but it's an A rank mission. Kakashi. They already have experience with B rank missions without actually doing them, so I'm fine with that. Enko. Me neither. Upon hearing that, everyone is surprised and it also filled Sasuke and Menma with jealousy. Menma. We'll go too. Sasuke. Yes. Sakura. If Sasuke-kun goes, I'm going too. Sasuke. I'm going too. Mito. I'm going too. Sai. Me too. The senseis of both teams were surprised but had to give in. They wouldn't get anywhere. Makoto. Fine. Kushina. If there's no other option. At that, Menma and Sasuke smiled arrogantly, knowing that they would be able to defeat Team Zero. Which they won't be able to. The others just smiled at being let go, but Sakura was undecided about whether it was a good idea to accept. Kakashi. Okay, let's go. With that, they continued their mission with one more objective from the Dreamer sisters. To assassinate Gato. Chapter 14. Kakashi. Okay, let's go. With that, they continued their mission with one more objective from the Dreamer sisters. To assassinate Gato. At the moment. The group was walking through the woods, some chatting to break the silence. Suddenly, Alejandro glanced to the side, having caught sight of something. Chara. What's wrong, Alex-kun? Hearing that attracts everyone's attention. Alejandro. I think I saw some of those. Before he could answer, he walked off towards the location under everyone's watchful eyes. Upon arriving, he confirmed his hypothesis. He had just found 3 Chaos Emeralds. The Plant Emerald. The Earth Emerald and the Wooden Emerald. Upon seeing them, he decides to take them, put them in a bag, and return. When he arrives, Chara walks towards him. Chara. How many? Alejandro. 3. Menma. Hey, you idiot, what are you talking about? Alejandro. That's none of your business. Let's move on. Menma, angrily. I won't take no for an answer. Tell me what you found, you moron. Kushina, angrily. Menma, shut up and let's move on. Menma. MPH. They all continue walking until they reach a river where they cross it in a boat. Menma. This is great. Naruto, whispering. Shut up, idiot. There's a reason we don't use the motor. Sir, whispering. Learn from the kid, you brat. Are you an idiot? Mito, whispering. Besides, he fell when he was little. Upon hearing this, the genin, except for Sasuke and Sai, Tazuna and the man, chuckled softly. Reaching the shore, Tazuna said goodbye to the man, and the group continued on. At a certain point, they heard a noise that prompted Menma to throw a kunai. Upon closer inspection, they realized it was a white rabbit. Sakura, angrily. Look what you did, Menma Baka. You almost killed a rabbit. Kakashi. A white rabbit. But those are snow rabbits. Unless. Alejandro. Everyone on the ground. As he said that, everyone threw themselves to the ground while the senseis dragged Menma, Sasuke, Sakura, and Tazuna away. Suddenly, a large sword flew over them all and became embedded in a tree. Immediately, a man with bandages on his face prostrated himself over the sword. Ninja. Well, what do we have here? Kakashi Haddock, the copy ninja. Kushina Uzumaki, the red hot-blooded habanero. And Makoto Uchiha, the black flame princess. Kakashi. Zabuza Momoshiki, ninja of Kiri. Kushina. I'm sorry to tell you this, Zabuza, but I'm no longer in Uzumaki. Zabuza. What? But before saying anything, a murderous instinct gripped Frisk, terrifying everyone, even Zabuza. Turning to see where the instinct was coming from, they were horrified to discover it was Frisk. Looking up, they were even more terrified to see those ruby red eyes. Frisk. Hello Zabuza. Upon hearing that, Zabuza simply falls to his knees. Zabuza. Fisk, ho ho. Everyone was surprised. Zabuza, the Kiri ninja, the one who carried the Kubikurumjm, was on his knees in front of Frisk. Frisk. What brings you here? Zabuza. Georgia Cat. Frisk. Speak properly. By this point, everyone was terrified by Frisk's behavior. The cheerful, pacifist, and calm girl had been replaced by an angry, genocidal, and desperate one. Strangely, this attracted Sasuke and Menma. Zabuza. Gato sent me to kill the builder. Frisk. And what did you do to our clan? Upon hearing that, Chara also became angry, changing her red eyes to eyes with black sclera and completely redder eyes. Again, strangely enough, this caught the boy's attention. Chara. Was it you who did that to our clan? Zabuza. I had no choice, I didn't want to. I was very close friends with the Dreamers, but starts crying, but they had Haku, I didn't want them to kill her. I had no choice. Everyone was in shock, especially those who knew Zabuza. He was weeping uncontrollably, worried about someone. Just then, Akiri Anbu appeared, drawing everyone's attention. Upon seeing him, Zabuza opens his eyes. Zabuza, whispering. Haku. Upon hearing his name, he removes his mask, revealing his face. Haku? Zabuza-sama. Zabuza just lowers his head. Seeing this, Chara lifts it and makes him look at Haku, who had marks from crying. Chara. Look at her closely, idiot. She cares about you, and it seems you care about her too. Frisk. Let's do this. Zabuza just turns to look at her. Frisk. You'll be our spy. You'll warn us when they come, and when it's all over, you'll join us. Kushina. Frisk-san, I don't think. He couldn't finish because he was terrified to see that Frisk had a knife in their hand. Not only her, but everyone was terrified. Frisk had never held a knife in her hands before. Zabuza. I agree. Frisk. Good. Zabuza. Let's go Haku. Haku. Hi, Zabuza-sama. After that, they both left. Once they were far away, Frisk and Chara calmed down, their eyes returning to normal, and Frisk put away their knife. Frisk, scared. Sorry, I didn't. Before continuing, she is hugged by Naruto. Naruto. Okay, calm down, I know you didn't mean to scare her. Frisk just turns to look at him. Frisk, whispering. Thank you. Frisk looked up as they kissed, much to the annoyance of Sasuke and Menma. When they separated, they began to hear sobs. Turning around, they realized they were coming from Chara, who was burying her face in Alejandro's chest, sobbing. Alejandro. Relax, it's over now. Chara. I know, but. Alejandro. But nothing, it's over now. You didn't want to do it, but you had to. I'm not upset or anything. Chara. Thanks. Chara and Alejandro do the same thing as Frisk and Naruto, leaving them both angry again. Kakashi. Cough, well, I don't want to ruin the moment, but we have to continue. May I ask where Mr. Tazuna lives? Tazuna. Yes, follow me. Upon hearing that, everyone starts following Tazuna to his house. But Haku and Zabuza. They were both on a branch, Haku standing and Zabuza sitting. Haku? Zabuza-sama. Upon hearing her, Zabuza turns to look at her. Haku? Is what he said true? When he massacred the Dreamer clan, was he doing it for me despite the pain he felt? Zabuza. Yes. Haku was simply trying to understand the pain Zabuza felt at that moment. Haku. Why did I accept? Zabuza. I did it for you. Haku could only open his eyes. Zabuza. I also heard that the matriarch and patriarch of the Dreamer clan are still alive in Konoha. Haku. I see. Thank you. Zabuza simply nodded and closed his eyes for a few moments. Zabuza. Let's go. Haku could only nod as Zabuza stood up so they could both jump. Chapter 15. Zabuza simply nodded and closed his eyes for a few moments. Zabuza. Let's go. Haku could only nod as Zabuza stood up so they could both jump. But the group. Team 7, 11, and 0, along with Tazuna, were arriving at his house. Upon arriving, he knocked on the door and they waited 5 minutes. When the door opened, they saw a woman who looked like Mikoto. The woman and Mikoto were surprised when they saw each other, as it seemed they were seeing a reflection of themselves. Tazuna. This is my daughter Tsunami. Tsunami, these are the ninjas who protected me. Upon hearing her father's voice, the woman now known as Tsunami, snaps out of her surprise. Tsunami. Ah, sorry, a taste, I'm Tsunami. Chara. Chara Dreamer. Frisk. Frisk Dreamer. Alejandro. Alejandro Santes. Mayuri. Mayuri Santes. Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruko. Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze. Kakashi. Kakashi Haddock. Anko. Anko Mitarashi. Sasuke, arrogantly. Sasuke Uchiha. Menma, arrogantly. Menma. Sakura. Sakura Haruno. Kushina. Kushina. Sai. Leave. Myth. Sasuke. Sasuke Uchiha. Makoto. Makoto Uchiha. Tsunami. A taste for everyone. I hope my priest didn't cause any problems. Tara. Kasi Jij. Tsunami. But I'm doing it, come on. Upon hearing that, everyone passed by, noticing that it was a humble place. On the stairs. You could see some legs that were about to go down when she was shocked by what she heard. But the group. Alejandro. How lovely. Upon hearing it, everyone turns to look at him. Sakura. Are you calling me an idiot? Alejandro. I'm telling the truth, the house is very nice. Even though it's humble, that doesn't take away from the fact that it's nice. Naruto. Besides, you can feel the atmosphere that, despite everything, there's a family here trying to stay together. At that moment a child comes down with an expressionless look. But if you looked closely, you could see surprise in his eyes. Tsunami. Inari, come and greet these ninjas. Inari. What are you doing here? Gato will kill you. Tsunami. Inari. Menma. Calm down, brat. I, the Kami no Shinobi, will protect you. Inari. Shut up. You don't know what we've been through. Naruto. That's right, he doesn't know. But we do. Look, my siblings Alejandro, Mayuri, Naruko, and I used to live together, and we still do, but our life wasn't easy. We were beaten, injured, and almost killed. But we're still here, standing strong. Listen, your grandfather already explained what's happening here, and from what we can see in the photos, your father isn't here anymore. But remember, and my Nai-san said this, life isn't a game for onlookers. If you just stand by and watch, you'll see your life pass you by and you won't accomplish anything. This also applies to thoughts. If you continue with those thoughts you will not achieve anything and you will remain stuck. Everyone was surprised and proud, especially his siblings. Naruto had just shared his life story and given some advice, but it had the greatest impact not only on Inari, but also on Sakura, who began to think about her ninja career. Inari, on the other hand, was trying not to cry. Alejandro. Child, if you want to cry, cry. It's not bad to cry. On the contrary, it frees you from a burden. So, cry, don't hold back. Upon hearing that, Inari began to sob uncontrollably as Tsunami and Tazuna went to him and hugged him. 10 minutes later, Inari stopped crying and broke into a wide smile. Inari. Thank you, guys. And thank you to your sisters too. Mary Naruko. And why us? Inari. Because you are also role models. Both of them simply offer a tender smile. Tsunami. Let's make dinner. Inari. Can I help, Mom? Tsunami. Of course. Alejandro. I'll help too. Tsunami. No worries. Alejandro. I insist. Tara. Besides, the food is delicious. Tsunami. Okay. Having said that, the three of them went straight to the kitchen while the rest rested. Time skip jutsu. 30 minutes passed and everyone was in the dining room. Then Tsunami, Alejandro and Inari came out carrying pans and pots of food, surprising everyone, especially Tazuna. Tazuna. Daughter, where did you get all that food? Tsunami. Alex-san had a roll of food. Naruto. That's why all the food. Alejandro. Yeah. Inari, go get the pitcher, please. Inari. Yes, Alex Nai. Inari runs off, leaving everyone surprised. Alejandro is shocked and his siblings are they jealous. When he returns, everyone sees that he had some things inside, but Frisk manages to identify them. Frisk. Alex, are those frost flower buds? Alejandro. Sip. Inari simply places the pitcher on the table and he, along with his mother and Alejandro, sit down to begin eating. When they take their first bite, everyone except Mayuri, Naruto, Naruko, Chara and Frisk is surprised by the flavor. All the siblings. This is delicious. Tazuna. This is delicious. Who made these potatoes? Inari. It was Alex Nai. Upon hearing that, everyone except the five mentioned and Alejandro himself turned to look at him. Alejandro. What can I say? I've been cooking since I was a kid. Sakura. But this is so delicious. It's like you have years of experience. Chara. Natural talent and experience. Naruto. Yeah. Oh, Inari. Inari. Yes, Naruto Nai. Upon hearing this, he was shocked, the others were surprised, and his sisters were jealous. Mayuri Naruko, jealously. There are brothers. Inari. Quite Mayuri ni, Naruko ni. Now these two were in shock. Kakashi. Well, putting all that aside, let's continue eating and go rest. We're training tomorrow. Sakura. And why, Kakashi-sensei? Frisk. He might be on our side, but that damn cat is sure to come with more people, and when that happens. Frisk simply changes their eyes to ruby red and brandishes their knife, scaring everyone. Frisk, grimly. I'll kill him. Naruto. Relax, let's eat. Frisk, normally. Okay 3. Everyone breaks out in a sweat when they see Frisk's attitude. Alejandro. Let's continue. I'll make a cake tomorrow. Tara Frisk. Chocolate and strawberry cinnamon and caramel. Upon hearing the other, they both stare until they see each other and nod. Tara Frisk. Banana. Alejandro. Okay, banana. Luckily I brought enough fruit, flour, and everything for some tarts. Tara Frisk. Yay. Both cheered, watched by everyone. When they calmed down, they continued eating. When they finished, Tsunami and Inari washed the dishes while the rest decided where to sleep, each team in a room, obviously Team 0 and a larger one. Chapter 16. Both cheered, watched by everyone. When they calmed down, they continued eating. When they finished, Tsunami and Inari washed the dishes while the rest decided where to sleep, each team in a room, obviously Team 0 and a larger one. The next day. The 3 teams were in the forest to train. Kushina. Well, we'll teach you how to climb trees. Menma. But Kasan, we already know how to do that. Alejandro. But without using our hands. Menma, arrogantly. Can you do it, idiot? Alejandro. Yes. Having said this, she began to walk using only her feet, surprising everyone and making Menma and Sasuke jealous. Upon reaching the top, she jumped and landed on her feet. Alejandro. Ready. Enko. Wow, you surprise us, kid. Do your siblings know how to do that too? Alejandro. Yes. Now that I think about it, Naruto and I have to practice a jutsu, so I'll see you later. Kakashi. Yes. Anko and I are going to protect Mr. Tazuna. Alejandro. Take Chara and Frisk with you. They don't want to practice right now. Kakashi. Okay. But that said, Kakashi and Anko leave to go after Chara and Frisk and protect Tazuna. Then Alejandro leaves to go with Naruto. Kushina. Okay, begin. But that said, they all began trying to climb the trees, experiencing falls, stumbles, and a few scratches. Then. Sakura. Wow, that was too easy. That's right, Sakura had finished her training and was sitting on the last branch of the tree, leaving everyone surprised. Makoto. Well done, Sakura. Sakura. Thank you. Sakura stands up, but as she does, she catches a glimpse of Mayuri and Naruto, practicing summoning the adamantine chains. Then she remembers what Naruto said. Naruto, life isn't a spectator sport. If you just stand there watching, you'll see your life pass you by and you won't accomplish anything. This also applies to thoughts. If you dwell on those thoughts, you won't achieve anything and you'll remain stuck. Sakura stared at them for so long that she didn't hear Makoto calling her. Makoto. Sakura. She had just returned to the world when she almost fell, but she landed upside down by channeling chakra into her feet. Everyone was impressed by this. Sakura. What happened? Now it was Makoto's turn to recover from the shock. Makoto. You were staring into space. Are you alright? Sakura, embarrassed. Oh, yes, sorry, I was just thinking about something. Sasuke. Can you tell me what it was? Sakura. Nothing important. Makoto. If that's the case, come downstairs and you can leave. Sakura. Yes. But that, Sakura climbs down from the tree and walks away from the place. With Mayuri and Naruto. Both had finished Kushina's training, having put in 200% effort and managing to complete it very quickly. Kushina. I'm surprised you managed it so quickly. Mayuri. What can we say, sensei? We gave it our all. Kushina. I see. And I'm surprised you were able to copy the adamantine chains. Mayuri. As I said, theology allows me to copy both Jujutsu and Kekkei Genkai. Kushina. Yes. Out of curiosity, what are Alejandro and Naruto doing? Baruko. They're practicing a jutsu. Also, Alex is creating new elements. Kushina. I see. The 3 of them would have continued talking when Sakura arrived. Sakura. Girls. Upon hearing her, the 3 of them turned to look at her. Naruto. What do you want, Sakura? Sakura. Well, I've been thinking about what Naruto said since yesterday and I've realized my level is low. That's why I want to ask if you can help me level up. The 3 of them were surprised by what she said. That fangirl of Sasuke Uchiha, the elite Uchiha, and Menma, the Kami no Shinobi, had disappeared and been replaced by a girl determined to become a Kunoichi. They looked at each other and then at Kushina, and all 3 nodded. Naruto. Okay, but you'll have to give it your all. Sakura. I'll give it 110%. Naruto. We hope so. We'll talk to our team. Sakura. Yes. And so Sakura's training began. First, her chakra reserves increased enough for her to perform a jutsu, with Frisk as her trainer. In ninjutsu, they had to determine her nature, discovering it was earth release, Doten, so they started with jutsu, with Alejandro as her trainer. In taijutsu, they helped her improve her reflexes, with Chara as her instructor. In Kenjutsu, they taught her weapons combat, with Kushina as her instructor. In Fuinjutsu, they taught her only a few things. With Naruto and Naruko as their instructors. And in Jinjutsu, they taught her how to break free from illusions with physical pain, with Mayuri as her trainer. It should be noted that when Kakashi and Anko saw this, they were surprised, but even though she wasn't their student, they were proud of Sakura, since she had put aside her fangirl side to focus on her ninja career. Time skip jutsu. Everyone was on the bridge waiting for Naruto to arrive. When he arrived, he stood next to them all. Alejandro. What happened, Aniki? Naruto. 2 bandits tried to kidnap Tsunami and Inari. Don't worry, Mr. Tazuna, they're already dead. Tazuna. Thank you. Then a fog began to envelop the bridge. From within the fog, they saw 2 figures walking toward them. When they were close enough, they realized it was Zabuza and Haku. They stood before them for 3 minutes, staring at them, until Menma tried to attack but was stopped by chains extending from Alejandro's back. Menma, angry. What are you doing, idiot? There are enemies. Sakura. Looks like you forgot the treaty Frisk and they made, Baka. Everyone, except for her trainers, Anko and Kakashi, was surprised by Sakura's attitude. But they couldn't say anything because they started hearing applause. When they looked to see where it was coming from, they saw that it was a minion a Chinek a short man. Man. Well, I never thought you'd betray me, Zabuza. Zabuza. Cat. Upon hearing her name, Frisk's eyes turned red with anger and instinctively pulled out her knife. Pat. But that doesn't matter, I wasn't going to pay you anyway. You charged too much, so with the money I was going to pay you, I hired these mercenaries who are cheaper. Turning around, kill everyone, pervertedly, but leave the women and girls alive, they'll be fun for us. Upon hearing that, the mercenaries gave a perverted smile. But what Gato didn't know was that he had just unleashed hell. Turning around, he saw that Team Zero had their heads down. He thought he had scared them. But he was filled with horror when they looked up. Frisk had ruby red eyes, Chara had black sclera with redder eyes, and the Uzumaki Namika's siblings and Sante's had blood red eyes with slit pupils. Those weren't the only eyes. Sakura was emitting a green aura, and Mikoto and Sasuke had their Sharigan activated. I couldn't find Mikoto's, but this is Sasuke's. Mito and Kushina had their hair standing on end and 9 tails, Haku was radiating cold, and Kakashi and Zabuza were armed. Frisk simply raised the knife and pointed it at Gato. Frisk. To the attack. But that said, everyone started running to attack the mercenaries, who were doing the same. Gato was at the back, watching in horror what was happening. His mercenaries were being decapitated, massacred, dismembered, etc. A group of mercenaries tried to attack Chara and Frisk, only for skeletal goat heads to appear, open their mouths, and unleash a beam that annihilated the group. This horrified Gato even more, and he tried to flee only to run into a wall of earth courtesy of Sakura. He turned around to find all his mercenaries dead, leaving him alone. Pat, scared. Trembling, no, don't kill me, I'll give you anything, money, women, jewels, anything. At that point, Chara, Frisk, and Zabuza stepped forward, pointing their weapons. Zabuza, Chara, Frisk. We want your life. But that said, the 3 of them slashed, killing Gato instantly. With Gato's body lying there, the trio turned away, now calm. Just then, they all heard noises and, looking to see where they were coming from, they saw the townspeople applauding and cheering them. Not Menma and Sasuke, since they didn't do anything and just watched. Time skip jutsu. The bridge had already been completed and teams 0, 7 and 11 were retreating to Konoha accompanied by Haku and Zabuza. Inari. While waving goodbye to the team, see you later. And come back soon. Naruto. While waving goodbye, see you later. With that, they continued their journey to the village. Chapter 17. The bridge had already been completed and teams 0, 7 and 11 were retreating to Konoha accompanied by Haku and Zabuza. Inari. While waving goodbye to the team, see you later. And come back soon. Naruto. While waving goodbye, see you later. With that, they continued their journey to the village. Konoha gates. The group of 18 people could be seen. These people were Alejandro Santes, Mayuri Santes, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze, Chara Dreamer, Frisk Dreamer, Anko Mitarashi, Kakashi Haddock, Menma, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, Kushina, Mito, Sasuke Uchiha, Sai, Mikoto Uchiha, Zabuza Momoshiki, and Haku Yuki. They were walking when they encountered the village's super ultra hyper mega protectors, the great Katetsu and Izumo, who were snoring. They looked at them with large beads of sweat on their brows. Zabuza. Is this really your security? Naruto. Everything indicates that it is. Menma was approaching to wake them up when Sakura pulled his ear. Sakura. Don't do it, Menma baka. Menma. Trying to break free, let me go, Sakura. Sakura. No, baka. Everyone, except for her trainers, Zabuza and Haku, was wondering what had happened to the old Sakura. Just then, Izumo woke up. Izumo. Ah. Have you arrived already? Alejandro. Waving his hands, Nuu, we're an illusion. Izumo. Haha, very funny. Moving his elbow, wake up, Katetsu. At that moment, the person named wakes up. Katetsu. Ah. Hello. Sakura. Let's go in. Katetsu. Understood. Come in. But that said, the group entered, leaving behind the supreme pair of protectors. Hori Hokage. Several Minatos could be seen doing paperwork when there was a knock at the door, causing the clones to dissipate. Minato. Go ahead. With that, our group enters, surprising Minato with Zabuza and Haku. Kushina. Mission accomplished, Hokage-sama. Minato. Good, but can you explain what Zabuza Momoshiki, former Kumonin, are doing here? Frisk. I can explain that. But that said, Frisk explained why Zabuza and Haku were in the village. It's worth noting that Minato was surprised, so he sent an Anbu after the rest of the Dreamer family. When they arrived, there was a commotion about why they were there. After 15 minutes, once everyone had calmed down and recounted everything that had happened, they made peace. Frisk. Well, problem solved. Tara. Yep. Zabuza. I appreciate your help. Frisk. You're welcome. Before Minato could speak, he caught a glimpse of light blue flashes in Naruto's eyes. This was code through flashes, which Minato understood. Minato. Well, report. Kushina Kakashi Anko Makoto. Yes. Minato. But I want the Dreamer family, except for Chara and Frisk, to leave. Asger. We'll do it now. But that said, the aforementioned individuals withdrew. Once the teams were assembled, the senseis began to recount everything that had happened on the mission. At the end, Minato was astonished. Minato. I'm impressed. Team 0, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno and Mito, I congratulate you on your excellent teamwork. As for the rest of you, I'm disappointed in you. I thought you'd be better genin, but I was wrong. I'll let you remain genin, but next time I'll send you back to the academy. Menma. But. Minato. But nothing. Makoto. Hokage-sama, the reason my genin side didn't fight was because Mito accidentally spilled the ink on him and he also didn't bring a secondary weapon other than ink. Minato. Okay, thank you for telling me. You may leave. But that said, everyone leaves, but Menma and Sasuke head towards the only one who desires the Hokage position for his sinister plans. That's right, I'm talking about Danzo Shimura. But what they don't know is that Minato already knows what they're planning, since Naruto told him through the flashes of light. Time skip jutsu. Minato was finishing the paperwork when an Anbu entered. Anbu? Hokage-sama, the council requests your presence. Minato. I'll go. What stupid excuse are they going to come up with now? But that said in thought, he retreats to the council room, but not before notifying the shinobi council. Council room. The civilian council was waiting for Minato when the door opened, revealing him. But behind him came the shinobi council, surprising the civilian council since they hadn't said a word. Minato sat down in his place. Minato. Well. Who initiated this meeting? Danzo. I did, Hokage-sama. Minato. And for what purpose? Danzo. Well, I was informed that Zabuza Momoshiki, a former Kumonin, and a girl named Hakuyuki, who possesses the Hyoten Kekkei Genkai, were here. Minato. Danzo, you're playing with fire. What are you planning? Danzo. To have Zabuza Momoshiki join the shinobi ranks. Minato. He told me that, and I agreed. Lid equals leader. Lid, Nara. He did the right thing, Hokage-sama. Not to be selfish, but with him on our side, we'd have an advantage. Minato. I know. And like I said, he asked me to. Anything else? Danzo. Yes. That young Yuki be admitted to the Kra Clan Restoration Act to have offspring. Minato. Denied. Danzo. Why denied? Minato. First of all, don't yell at me. I'm the highest authority here, so calm down. And second, young Yuki is under the protection of the Dreamer clan. Given what was said, the civil council was annoyed, too a little, especially Danzo, who wanted that Kekkei Genkai to have more Anbu under his command. Danzo. Let's do it by vote. Minato, frustrated. Didn't I tell you what would happen if you tried to do it by vote? Hamura. I don't mean to sound rude, Hokage-sama, but if we want to remain the most powerful village, we need to have the best ninja. That's why we thought it would be better to put Yuki in the Kra. But personally, and to avoid any more trouble, I agree not to put her in the Kra. Kaharu. I agree with Midokado-san, it's better to leave her alone than to have problems. Lid, Inuzuka. I agree. Lid, Nara. Me too. Lid, Aburam. Me as well. Uchiha. I agree too. And so the Shinobi Council continued to accept. It should be noted that the rest of the civilian council was furious, but Danzo was another story. He was enraged since his plan had been completely ruined. In a desperate move, he said something. Danzo? Then let the dreamer brats teach Menma-sama and Sasuke-sama how to summon those skeletal heads. As he said that, the place began to cool so much that they could see the steam from his breath. When they turned to look at Minato, they saw that he was staring in one direction, trembling with terror. That frightened them. Turning around, they saw a dark place, but something about it terrified them even more. As they approached, they saw that it was Chara, who had her knife ready to attack. Minato. Chara, what are you doing here? Chara. Nothing, Hokage-sama, it's just that Naruto asked me to stay here. But seeing that this old geezer tried to use us, and on top of that, call Frisk and me brats, well, you know. Upon hearing that, Danzo did the stupidest thing in his life, confronting Chara while forgetting Alejandro's warning, and also forgetting that Chara is known as the genocidal one. Danzo. Shut up, brat. You have no say in this. So shut up and get lost. At that moment everyone was terrified because he had black sclera with redder eyes, and he was also leaking a black liquid. Chara, grimly. I see you forgot Alex Kun's warning. Everyone sees a red slash in that. What they saw shocked them. Danzo's bandaged arm had fallen off as he was touching the wound. Chara simply walked over to his arm and removed the bandages. When they were removed, everyone was shocked and horrified. On the arm were several Sharingan eyes. Danzo, on the other hand, uncovered his bandaged eye, revealing a Sharingan. But before he could do anything, Chara grabbed the eye and tore it out, causing a jet of blood to spurt from the socket, staining her. Now everyone was terrified, and they finally understood why Chara and Frisk called Frisk a genocidal maniac when they fought. Makoto. Emerging from the horror and becoming enraged, you damn Danzo, you're the one who killed all those Uchiha. Danzo. So what if I did? It was all for the good of the village. Chara. For the good of the village, or for your own good. Hokage-sama, if you'll allow me, I want to execute you right now. Minato. Do it. Danzo, furious. What are you saying, Minato? This is treason. Chara. Look who's talking, the bastard who kidnapped children and forced them to serve you from the shadows. Any last words? Danzo. You bastards. With that, Danzo's head detached from his body and rolled across the room. When they turned around, they saw that Chara's eyes were back to normal. Chara. Mission accomplished, Hokage-sama. Minato. Thank you, this meeting is adjourned. With that, everyone left while Chara changed her blouse and Makoto stayed behind. Minato. Do you need anything, Makoto-san? Makoto. Yes. Chara, would you be so kind as to get rid of this arm and this eye? Chara. Yes. With that said, Makoto placed the arm and eye in a designated spot along with Danzo's remains. Once everything was ready, Chara performed hand seals, surprising the two of them since they had no idea what they were doing. Chara. Furton. Dirigible flame jutsu. With that, the flame goes directly to the arm and eye, leaving the objects incinerated. Makoto, thank you Chara. Chara. You're welcome. We'll be going now, Hokage-sama. Minato. I'll come with you since I've finished the paperwork. Chara. Okay. But that said, the three of them leave the room, the danger now over. Chapter 18. But that, the flame goes directly to the arm and eye, leaving the objects incinerated. Makoto, thank you Chara. Chara. You're welcome. We'll be going now, Hokage-sama. Minato. I'll come with you since I've finished the paperwork. Chara. Okay. But that said, the three of them leave the room, the danger now over. Time skip jutsu. Furthermore, with the help of Haku and Minato, they found two more, Haku providing the snow emerald. And from Minato, the energy emerald, which was in the old root facilities. Once, Menma and Sasuke tried to act tough with Frisk and Chara, only to be nearly killed by their respective boyfriends. And last but not least, the group managed to complete C rank and B rank missions, but none of the A rank ones to avoid drawing attention. Right now, our group is heading to the bridge where they used to hold meetings while enjoying a glass of chocolate milk. Chara. Damn it, we shouldn't have stayed up so late. Naruto. I know, but just like me, you were impatient to finish learning Alejandro's new jutsu. Alejandro. And it's my fault, being the oldest I had to send you to bed. Chara. Equals what about me? Alejandro. Trembling a little, not you, Chara. Chara. Equals okay. Alejandro just let out a sigh of relief. He was afraid for his girlfriend, but her genocidal side was what he liked about her. That dude turned out to be a total masochist XD. They continued walking until they reached the bridge where they saw Team 7 and 11. Sakura. I won't say anything, since I know they arrived on time. At that moment, Chara raises her palm upwards. Sakura. What are you doing? Chara. Checking if it's going to rain. Sakura. Annoyed haha, very funny. Alejandro. Hey haha. Menma. Hey, you idiots, what do you think the teachers are going to talk to us about? Naruto. Do we look like we know anything? This enraged Menma, causing him to approach and attempt to strike, but every attack was blocked. Before Menma could kick him, Chain stopped him, lifting him off the ground. Seeing where they came from, they realized it was Mito. Menma. What are you doing, Mito? Mito. Stopping you from doing something stupid. Menma. I'm putting him in his place, I'm not doing something stupid. Sakura. Literally, yes. I agree. You were doing something stupid. Sasuke. Right. This enraged Menma even more. Her sister, her sister's classmate, her sister's friend, and her own classmate were all against her. She was about to say something when the teachers arrived. Kushina. What's Menma doing like that? Mito. He was doing something stupid. Kushina. I see. Please put him down. Mito simply released his chains, letting him fall headfirst. Enko. Okay, putting that aside, we have an announcement. We're nominating you for the Chunin exams. Menma. What are the Chunin exams? Kushina. The Chunin exams are a series of tests to see if you're suitable to become a Jonin or Chunin. Alejandro. I see. Out of curiosity, how many tests are there? Makoto. There are 3 tests. We won't tell you what they are. Naruto. That's better, it'll be more fun. Kakashi. Alright, handing out some forms, here are the forms. Fill them out with your information, but Team 0 needs to split into 2 teams. Team 0. Yes. Kakashi. Good, the exams are in 1 week. So you have time to prepare. Team 7, 11, and 0. Yes. Kakashi. Good, see you later. With that, he disappeared in a cloud of smoke while the 3 senseis retreated in swirls of leaves and fire. Alejandro. Well, we'll take a break to decide who will be on each team. Sasuke. Of course, Alex-san. By the way, what other kinds of desserts can you make? Besides cake, tarts, cupcakes, and pemmels. Alejandro. Cookies and pies. Why? Sasuke. Just curious. Alejandro. Okay. With that, Team 0 goes to the Sante's Uzumaki Namika's Dreamer residence. Resident Sante's Uzumaki Namika's Dreamer. Team 0 arrives at the residence to find Janet, Dennis, and Toriel cooking, Asger, Kurumi, and Azriel reading, and Kurama snoring. Upon seeing Kurama, a bead of sweat appears on the back of everyone's head. Naruto. And that's the half that lives inside me. Kurama. I heard you, kid. Chara. What the hell? Toriel. Chara language. Chara. Sorry. The 6 split up. Chara and Alejandro get a chocolate bar, Frisk a piece of cinnamon caramel cake, Mayuri a chili candy, and Naruto and Naruko some ramen. Once they have everything, they head to the living room. Upon arriving, Azriel looks up from his book. Azriel. Well. Why did you call us here? Chara. To talk about the Chunin exams. Asger. Looking up from his book, what are the Chunin exams? Frisk. They're a series of tests to see if we become Jonin or Chunin. Asger. I see. Azriel. Looking up from his book, but there are 6 of you. You'll have to split into 2 teams. Naruto. We've seen that before, bro. Upon hearing that, there were several reactions. Toriel, Janet, Dennis, Chara, Naruko, and Mayuri giggled slightly. Asger and Azriel had eye twitches. Alejandro and Kurama opened their eyes. And Frisk blushed so much that she looked like a tomato. Azriel. Eye twitch, aha, go on. Naruto. Well, we were thinking each team could have the Sante's Uzumaki Namika's Dreamer pairing. Asger. That's a good pairing. And who would it be? Alejandro. Chara, Naruko, and me as Team 0.1. Naruto. And Frisk, Mayuri, and me as Team 0.2. Kurumi. Not only is it a good pairing, but each team will also have a Jinchuriki. Kurama. Yes, sis. By the way. That caught everyone's attention. Kurama. When will you use those 2 new elements? After saying that, the group paused to think. Alejandro. When the occasion calls for it. Kurama simply nods. He knows perfectly well that his Jinchuriki's older brother is just as clever. The editorial. But take good care of yourselves, kids. The group, yes mom. With that, everyone goes back to their own thing, while Alejandro is left thinking about another element to create. Chapter 19. With that, everyone goes back to their own thing, while Alejandro is left thinking about another element to create. Time skip jutsu, 1 week later. Naruto can be seen walking while putting a scroll in his pocket when he sees a square rock. Wait, a square rock? There aren't any of those types of rocks unless. Naruto. Konohamaru, rocks aren't square. Upon hearing that, a small explosion is heard from the rock. Cough cough cough, I told you not to use too much gunpowder. Sorry cough cough. Then the rock flies away, revealing 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. Girl. I'm Ogi and I like to read. Child 1. I am Yuden and I like numbers. Child 2. And I am Konohamaru. The 3 of us. And we are, Team Konohamaru. Naruto just applauds his entrance. Naruto. Very good entrance, but they need to improve it. Konohamaru. Boss, can we play ninjas? What they didn't know was that Menma was passing by. Menma. Ha, what a useless kid playing ninjas. You really are useless. Ha 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 ha. Naruto. I'm not playing ninjas, I'm training them. Besides, they know some jutsu that my team and I know. Konohamaru. Yeah, so shut up, tomato. Menma. What did you say, you damn useless kid? How dare you talk to the god of shinobi like that? Konohamaru couldn't say anything as Menma grabbed his scarf to lift him up. Menma. Listen here, brat, I'm not going to. Naruto. Menma, stop doing something stupid. Menma. You shut up, you useless idiot. I have to put this insolent brat in his place. Naruto. Menma, leave him alone, unless you want me to tell the 3rd Hokage. Menma. And why would you tell him? This brat doesn't belong to anyone. But before Naruto could stop him, Menma punched Konohamaru in front of everyone. Did you see? He hit the Hokage's honorable grandson. Yes, and he calls himself a ninja. Naruto only went to see Konohamaru. Naruto. Sorry, Kono, I was a little slow. Konohamaru, you're welcome chief. I tried my best. Menma. Hey, stop whispering. Turning to look at Naruto. Hey, you idiot, tell them to shut up. Naruto. Menma, I'm telling you right now, this won't be forgiven. You'll have to tell your team that it's already fallen apart. Menma. And why would it fall apart? Just because of that brat. Naruto. For your information, this brat is Konohamaru Sarutobi, grandson of the 3rd Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Upon hearing that, Menma turns pale. Naruto. And before you say anything, you won't be able to keep your headband. Everyone saw you, and they already saw that Menma, the self-proclaimed god of shinobi, just because he's a ninja, thinks he has the power to do whatever he wants. Menma. Shall we talk? Naruto. No, besides, it wasn't just the villagers who saw you, the Anbu guarding Kono saw you too, so you can kiss your ninja career goodbye. Then an Anbu wearing a cat mask arrives. Menma, the 4th Hokage requests your presence in his office. Menma. I won't go. Then you are charged with child abuse, abuse of power, and resisting arrest. Anbu, take him away. 2 Anbu appeared and grabbed Menma, taking him away despite his resistance. As soon as they left, Gaten turned to look at Naruto and Team Konohamaru. Thank you for trying to help him. Naruto. Yes. At that point, Gaten withdraws. Naruto. Looking at Konohamaru. Sorry Kono, but I have to go. Konohamaru. Yeah, no worries, boss. Naruto. Okay. Stands up. See you. At that moment, Naruto runs off while Team Konohamaru goes in another direction. Academy entrance. The rest of Team Zero could be seen waiting for Naruto. Then he arrived. Frisk. You're late, Naru-kun. Naruto. Sorry, Frisk-chan, but I had a problem with Menma. Poor Sakura, she won't be able to participate. Tara. And why can't she participate? Naruto. Menma was arrested for hitting Konohamaru. Alejandro. Really? He hit little Kono. Naruto. Yes, and he resisted. Naruko. What an idiot. And that was our brother. Naruto. Let's just forget about that. Let's go inside. With that, Team Zero entered the academy. Upon reaching the 2nd floor, they saw some students trying to enter room 310. Mayuri, whispering. Jinjutsu, let's keep going. The team walked past. But they hadn't counted on another team spotting them and following them. Once on the 3rd floor, they realized they were right. They were about to continue walking when a young man in green spandex intercepted them. You already know who it is. Alejandro. Hello. Naruto. Lee, what are you doing here? Alejandro. Do you know him? Naruto. Sorry. This is Rock Lee, a friend. Lee. Hello, Naruto. You must be Alejandro. Alejandro. Yes, what do you need? Lee. I want to fight with you. Alejandro. Sorry, but no. I don't want to show off my skills. So no. Lee. Okay. Are these your sisters? Naruko. Yes. I'm Naruko. Mayuri. And I'm Mayuri. Lee. Hello, I'm Rock Lee, nice to meet such lovely girls. Naruko. Thanks for the compliment. But we have to go. See you. Lee. Nodding yes. With that, Team Zero heads to the hall, bumping into Kakashi and Anko. Anko? You guys are finally here. Naruto. Sorry, it was my fault. I got distracted by something and I'm late. Anko. No problem. Naruto just nods and he and the others go inside. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.